Rewind up.
With the Packham, who is also known as Blair, and Mikey Boom Boom too.
Rewind up.
Looking back and yippee-yapping on the air for the quarterly review.
Rewind up.
Skiddly boddly doodly.
Rewind up.
Bibbidi bobbidi noodly.
Rewind up.
With the Packham, who is also known as Blair, and Mikey Boom Boom too.
That is so well done.
Thank you.
I literally played it on Toronto Mike yesterday. To tease, yeah. I'll tell you more about that in a minute.
Okay.
Prepare to have your tires pumped. Welcome to episode 1859 of Toronto Mic'd, an award-winning podcast. I don't know if I've ever said that on Rewinder before. An award-winning podcast proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Did you know this is an award-winning podcast?
No, I was going to interrupt you, but you're about to do the sponsor list, so...
all right, well, interrupt me at the other side.
Yeah.
That's an Aerosmith song, The Other Side. Order online. Oh, yeah, well, I don't know if I mentioned, but it's proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. Order online at greatlakesbeer.com for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. Visit palmapasta.com for more. Fusion Corp's own Nick Iones. He's the host of Building Toronto Skyline and Mike and Nick, two podcasts that you ought to listen to. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Redley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Joining me today, making his return for this fourth episode of Rewinder, it is Blair Packham.
Hi.
Hi there.
Hi there.
Hello there.
I'm the Packham, who is also known as Blair.
I find that opening theme that we have for Rewinder to be very catchy and very clever.
Well, the catchy part is because of what Darren wrote, you know, the original hit.
Darren O'Brien.
That's right. Snow. And he it's all that's I mean, I'm weird. I'm weird alling this song.
You're paying your
homage.
Okay.
I'm paying an homage.
Remind me and clarify.
Yeah.
That's all you, right? That's not some AI machine spitting that out.
No, although I used a karaoke track for part of it. So
okay, so
I think I left it to the day before, and I was going to send it to you, and I thought, oh man, I can't recreate, so I thought,
But you wrote it, you sang it.
I wrote all the words, I sang it, I added instruments, yeah.
That's a Blair Packham, okay? So well done, I love it very much, and welcome back to Rewinder.
Thank you, I'm glad to be here. I'm always glad to be here.
So we'll do a little catch up for those who haven't heard Rewinder. We're very organized on this show. Like, there is going to be a bit of catch up here. I have some questions for you, Blair.
Okay.
And a little audio. Then we're going to have a segment about radio changes this past quarter. There were plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Television changes. There were plenty. And we're focusing on Canada here, everybody. Music. There's a little less music, but we'll talk about a couple of new news items regarding music.
Yep.
And then we're going to celebrate, pay our respects to some people who passed away this past quarter, significant people in the TMU and beyond. So we're going to cover a lot of ground, and we're going to try to do it in 2 hours. But first, I want to know, how was your trip to Jamaica?
It was great. It was really great. It took a little adjustment. I'm not the sort of lie on the beach and drink a beer at 9 a.m. kind of guy. I like to lie on the beach, but for limited times. I also like to lie in my hotel room bed, and but I also like to go see things. And this was Negril, and there's stuff to see, but not, you know, it's not like you're going to the cathedral or going to the gallery or like, it's not like European tourism. And so I'm just not used to that, like
Too chill?
And I
kind of relate to
got
this.
used to it. I got used to it, actually. It took a couple of days. Now, the first 2 days, rain like I've never seen in my life. Like, really, it was so loud that my traveling companion, who I'll talk about in a second, my traveling companion and I couldn't hear ourselves talk to each other at a normal volume in the cabin we were in, because the rain was so intense.
Right.
And then the next day when the rain stopped and the sun was shining, thankfully, I walked around the cabin, and like I saw like the roof leaked in about 6 places, and you could see sunshine through the holes. It was amazing. Now, my traveling companion was Radio Lady
Sharon Taylor.
That is correct.
FOTM Sharon Taylor.
That's right, all the way from Winnipeg, and so she flew in from Winnipeg, and then we got on an airplane and went to Jamaica.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic trip, but a fantastic companion.
She is fantastic. And she had been to Negril, I believe. I could have the number wrong, but I believe she's listening, so she could correct me, as she does. I believe it was her 20th visit to Negril.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she had gone there for many, many years with her family, and usually a relatively large group. So this was different for her because it was just one other person, and it was different for her because it was me. And she had stayed in a bunch of different places, and we were in a place called Whistling Bird, which was very charming, actually. And the whole place had been affected negatively by the hurricane, as you can imagine.
Right.
But Whistling Bird, I think a whole cabin maybe got blown away, but they were rebuilding, and it was going to be nice. It's definitely not like a first-class resort kind of thing, like not a 5-star or anything like that, not an all-inclusive as well, but very relaxed and really easygoing. And I don't know, man, I wanted to go back. As soon as I got back here, I wanted to go back.
You could get used to that.
Yeah, I could definitely get used to that.
And I relate to that whole idea. Like, you're used to, like, okay, we're going to Paris or whatever, and then you map out these 20K walks you're going to do every day and see this and that, and you're going to cover a lot of ground and everything. And it sounds like this vacation is more of a lie on the beach, drink some beverage, drink that Great Lakes beer you smuggled over the border.
Right. It was Great Lakes beer only. Who knew that was such a big beer in Jamaica?
Only available in Ontario and Jamaica. That's a little known fact here. Shout out to Great Lakes. But that kind of vacation, to me, I don't think I would enjoy that. But maybe if I did that, if I was forced to by Radio Lady or something, like maybe it would seep into my bloodstream. And after a few days, I'd be like, oh, I get it now. And maybe that would be my new style. Like, I'd be just chill, dude. When I think about drinking Great Lakes by a beach, I think about what Mark Weisblot would do after his visits every month. Is he'd take his Great Lakes and he'd go to the waterfront and he'd just enjoy himself.
Oh, I didn't know that.
That was the ritual.
Maybe that's
and he would tell me that would be the only beer he'd consume, like the whole month would be his Great Lakes he'd get from coming here, and he would go to the waterfront, Lake Ontario, similar vibes, and he would enjoy.
So, very similar vibes to the Caribbean Ocean or whatever. It's totally the same.
What, it's
Lake
called
Ontario.
the Caribbean Ocean? What's going on?
I don't know.
Come on, don't you know your geography?
I don't know. I do not at all. I don't know where Jamaica even
Maybe
is.
Radio Lady should fact check you on where you were.
It's apparently south of here, Jamaica, I'm told.
Oh, man.
It's funny, I recorded a whole lot of great reggae in my early recording days, and so you'd think I'd have an affinity for reggae, which I actually do. But in the meantime, it's turned into this sort of, hey, man, people doing a bad Jamaican accent and talking about how much they love Bob Marley and so forth, and I feel like it's deeper than that. And so I was resistant, because here we are with the tourists, and everybody's listening to reggae, and
right,
and I'm thinking, yeah, reggae, yeah, whatever. But I grew to really get into it, and they were playing some deep cuts as well. And that was great. So, I got back into the reggae thing too, which is nice.
It's going to be an award-winning segue. So I mentioned off the top of this episode, this is now an award-winning podcast because at some point in December, I won a Canadian Podcast Award for best, I can't remember now, news commentary or current event. I can't remember the category. But I won this prestigious Canadian Podcast Award, so I added it to the intro, but I think this is the first episode of Rewinder since I added that.
Yes,
to the intro.
and I'm not plugged in at all.
No, you're not at all. Like, the fact you haven't heard it hurts me deeply.
Your name is...
But you mentioned early in your career, you were recording reggae. Yeah. Did any of this reggae involve Fergus Hambleton?
Yeah, once or twice, but he and I became friends in about 1992. Okay. But in the 80s, he was still working with all the people that I was recording at that time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm trying to segue over.
Yeah,
it's a bit weaker here. Yeah. But his ex-wife was over here yesterday.
Oh, nice, Victoria.
Yeah. And you came up because I wanted to find out from Victoria her origin story in the world of PR. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know where it would lead. I'm just asking the questions here. But it turns out you played a significant role, Blair Packham. Did you know that?
Well, I don't know if I'd characterize it as a significant role because I
she did.
didn't know. I mean, I know that we worked together and she did a fantastic job, and she's a lovely woman, but also a great publicist. So, but I didn't know where it fell in her chronology. So,
Do you want to hear her
well,
celebrate the co-host of Rewinder, Blair Packham?
I think I do.
All right, let's listen to Victoria Lord, recorded yesterday, unprompted. I didn't say, tell me some nice things about my guest tomorrow. Here is Victoria Lord. So it's amazing to me hearing you tell me Blair Packham plays like a role in your story.
I don't even know if he realizes it. He is, as you know, one of the funniest people. So intelligent and the biggest heart. He's just wonderful.
I might have to pull that for him.
He really, I just think the world of him. I haven't seen him in a long time, actually. But
well,
so
hang out.
you
can spend the night and see him tomorrow.
See him tomorrow. So Blair called and said, we're doing this Bluebird North tour, and I know you're on mat leave, but would you work on this tour for us?
So there's more in the episode of Victoria Lord tomorrow. Yesterday. Yeah, it's in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll tell you about that later. But yeah, so there's more tire pumping in the full thing, but I thought I'd pull a little 30 seconds.
That is so nice. And honestly, you could pull that and I could play that on a loop because I'm going through a bit of a self-esteem thing right now. So yeah, well, I'm human. It goes up and down. And
I'm only human.
That's a good song.
Flesh and blood.
Who was that? Paul?
I don't know.
Paul Jans?
Yeah, I know.
No.
I'll Google it while I play this song, okay? Because this is going to segue into something else. So this is all the catch up with Blair component. But it gives me an opportunity to rant and rave about somebody.
I want to see you.
You ready? Are you ready?
The ranting I've heard.
You see that saliva building?
I want to see the raving.
Shout out to DJ Trance. Okay, here we go.
Wow, is life ever amazing? Just think about it, Kevin. The universe has conspired to create a number of miracles and magic to create, of all things, you.
Yes, but life is also kind of boring too.
That it is, my friend. That it is. So if you ever get down,
guilty as charged,
then just sing this happy song. Life is for living, filled with pain and misgivings. It's cold and unforgiving for dumb little suckers like us. The world is so foul, you may want to scowl. Hold your head and just howl, but don't throw in the towel. Just live, don't wait for things to get better, they won't. Want to follow your dreams? Please don't. Comfort yourself if you have any doubt that things hardly ever work out. They don't work out.
Amen, sister.
Who are we listening to, Blair Packham?
Well, that's Bruce McCullough and Kevin McDonald.
Yes, so FOTM, Kevin McDonald, and Bruce McCullough. Do you have anything to do with the new material from Bruce McCullough?
Yes, I recorded at my home a few vocals with Bruce for his current release. I believe his debut music album, songs from Bruce. And
that's his debut? Like, what about, was Dave's I Know and Terriers and all that?
Well,
not
those
on
were
an album?
songs within the show.
But I feel like it might have also
Did
got
they
it.
release
Yeah,
them?
that one, the human one. The title. I'll have to Google this. So before I Google that, and I tell you why I'm ranting about Bruce here,
Raving,
and raving if you're lucky. Human is by the Human League.
No.
I'm only human.
Is it that song?
I'm pretty sure that's the one we're talking about.
Because I thought I'm only human. There's so many songs though that I've been tempted to write a song myself that way. So.
Let me play the audio sample. So let me just say goodbye to Bruce here. We're gonna talk more about Bruce in a moment here. So
Bruce is a lovely
goodbye
fella.
to Bruce. Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
I can't speak to that quite yet, but I'm sure he is. But let's listen to this. That's the song we're singing.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Come on, baby, dry your eyes.
Right.
Wipe your tears.
The Human League.
Never like to see you
Yeah, 1986. I'll bring her down, but that is the song we're singing. The Human League.
I'm only human. Yeah. So they're called Human League. The song is "I'm Only Human." So
the song's title is Human.
Oh, okay.
And the band is called Human League.
And the chorus goes, I'm only human.
Right.
So the Jitters
Big
could do a
Country.
version like that. I'm only Jit, because it would be half of the name, right? Like
Well, we're workshopping that one
I'm
still.
only Jit.
Okay, I'm just checking out Human
Yeah,
League.
It
They've had
doesn't ring the same. Just running it by in my head. I don't think
Well,
so.
keep working on that. But back to Bruce for a moment, and then we're
Yes.
going to get to the subject of the matter. Bruce McCullough was in my calendar 3 distinct, unique times. So 3
Oh,
times because he had a bunch of shows, and
Yes.
a PR person said, "Would you talk to Bruce?" And I said, "I am trying to get all the kids in the hall in the basement. I wrote him a handwritten letter once because he was Tall Boys."
Yeah, he was shooting down the street. or
Shooting down
something?
the street,
Yeah.
and the lady
worked on
who-
that too.
And okay, well, why can't you get Bruce in the basement? Then is my question, because this thing was booked 3 times. The PR person's so apologetic, beyond his control, not his fault. But 3 times I got amped up to have Bruce, a kid in the hall, in the basement, which means I load up my songs, I do my research, I'm ready. 3 different times I had my heart broken. I'm a little ticked off, man.
I can understand that. I totally understand that. Bruce is polylaborious. He's an autonomous creature. He works on what he wants to work on and does what he wants. I have no control
Well,
over
then
Bruce.
why did he hire? Why is there a PR person involved booking for him if he's
Well,
going to do what he wants?
I suppose that's a good question, but he's a busy fella and he's got a family. He's so generous. I got to say, for my son in high school did a documentary for his film class. He was at an art school, and he did a documentary about the kids in the hall. And Paul Myers was working on his book at the time, and Paul's a
Right.
family friend, so my boy interviewed Paul. But then Bruce offered himself up to be interviewed to this kid, this high school kid. And not only that, he asked Owen if he invited Owen to shadow direct with him, like follow Bruce around basically while Bruce was directing Tall Boys. Now, Owen didn't take full advantage of the opportunity because he said,
It sounds like Bruce is
you
a
know,
mensch.
He's a mensch. He's a total mensch, and he's very businesslike. When he comes to my house, we shoot the shit for like 2 minutes, and then we're working. And
That's like us.
Yeah, exactly. We shoot the shit for 2 hours, and then we don't work. But yeah, no, he's a lovely guy. And
I'm sure. By the way, I never met the man. Okay, I do madly respect his work, and I love Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, you know this.
Yep.
But I do think maybe we need to get him in the basement just to like not have those bad Hugh Dillon vibes I've been carrying for a decade, because his PR blew me off. But that was one time in the calendar, came out last minute, never got back in. Bruce was in there 3 different times. I need Bruce in this basement.
Well, here's the thing. I know you don't want to chase him because you've already had him in the calendar 3 times, and you're ticked off.
I haven't put him on the shit list yet. I'm still willing to have him
But I
on.
do think that if you called his assistant, who I could hook you up with, but I think you might already have her number, and just explain your plight. I think she would.
This is all I asked. Let me talk to this
Yeah.
assistant and explain my plight.
She's wonderful, and she'll be sympathetic, and she will be helpful if she can.
Okay, thank you. This is the 3rd album released by Bruce McCullough. So the
Oh my
first one
God.
was 1995's Shame-Based Man. That's the one I was thinking about.
God, I didn't remember
That one I
either of
had.
those.
So
wow,
yeah, so Shame-Based Man,
yeah.
which was, by the way, produced by FOTM Bob Wiseman. Okay, and
Wow.
I'll show you. I'll name some of the tracks on that one. But then he also did one in 2002 called Drunk Baby Project.
Oh
So
yeah.
this is the 3rd one. And I mean, I'm looking at the track list for Shame-Based Man, and okay, so I was wondering if it had any of those Kids in the Hall songs, but it's got a lot of stuff. Bob Wiseman's all over this stuff. Kevin McDonald always,
Always, yeah.
drops by and helps out. One of the songs, so I just saw it here. So you might remember, maybe you remember Daddy's on the Drink, but the one that is on here that you'll know from Kids in the Hall is Dave's I Know. Dave's I Know is on Shame-Based Man.
There you go.
There you
well,
go.
I shows you what I know.
Well, yeah.
I don't have to research all of my clients.
You should. Have the Jitters ever been nominated for a Juno?
Yes, in 1988.
And who won that Juno?
Barney Bentall.
Not the Legendary Hearts, just Barney.
No, Barney
They don't
Bentall
all get
and
one.
the Legendary Hearts. They were
So,
all included. And
if-
they were sitting 2 rows in front of us.
Okay, he's
And-
a good guy,
Oh,
Barney.
he's a really
I've
good
had him
guy.
on.
And in the moment, I was crushed, but only in the moment.
Right.
And I think Barney's fantastic.
Okay, Maestro Fresh West was nominated. They didn't have a rap category at the time, but he was nominated for Best Dance Recording, I think. He didn't win that Juno either, but I believe that went to FOTM Concan, Barry Harris.
Oh yeah.
Remember the Never Promised Me a Rose Garden thing?
Yeah.
But that one, I think. Okay, so just before I get away from this Juno, 2 quick things on the Junos. One is, if you win a Juno, do you know the answer to this? Do you have to pay for your trophy?
Well, I don't know, but that seems to be how it works. When I never won, I never achieved gold status with the Jitters. We came close, but not close enough. And but I understood at the time it was $125.
So it's gone up.
Yeah. But I don't know. It seems to be the way it is.
Yeah, Simone Denny told me that it was between $400 and $600, and most artists, it'll be the record label will pick up that tab. Although, as we always say, it gets billed back to you at the end.
Oh yeah. And anytime you're in a limo at the record company expense, or there's a party.
Just the average Joe.
Yeah.
And I used to be one. Okay.
Yes, a civilian.
They don't realize that when you've got those big fancy band parties with the expensive champagne and the limos and everything, they don't realize that the record label's not just paying that because you're making them some money, that the band will end up paying for that at the end.
Yeah, I mean it's creative accounting in a way, because they are putting the money out, and that money they won't necessarily get back from sales, because you may not sell enough to recoup that money. But that's where it comes from accounting wise, and it means you don't get paid a royalty until that money is
It's like
recouped.
a loan.
Yeah, it's like a loan. It's an interest-free loan, and there's 2 things about it that I think are egregious. One is they charge all kinds of stuff to you that you didn't authorize, or like there was a huge Juno party at the Junos that year in '88, and all the nominees, I'm sure, found charges in their recoupable account, for a party that I would have had less shrimp.
Great point, right? You eat differently when you're paying for it versus some rich person is paying for this.
So for me, at the end of our deal with the Jitters, we ended up with a debit balance of $485,000, and that was for limos and parties, and
that's a lot of money.
And pressing and distribution of the record and so forth. What that meant was, at that moment when we were dropped by the label, we would have had to earn back, in terms of royalties, $485,000 before we saw any royalty at all. So,
and that was when $500,000 meant something.
Yeah, it was, exactly. And it also meant, at that time, given our royalty rate, that was about $1 per record, which meant we would have had to sell 485,000 albums in order to get that, in order to recoup.
Which means you would have had to break in the United States of America.
Yeah, exactly. Because an album that sells 485,000 in Canada is like enormous.
Maybe
obviously.
one band can do that, okay? And that's going to tie into the last point before we get to our first segment about radio. But I did see, since your last visit, I saw the Tragically Hip's Rob Baker post a video by you on his Instagram story. Are you aware of this?
No.
Do you have any awareness? So I took the note when I saw it to ask you about it, but I didn't pull the audio. So Rob Baker posted some video by you on his Instagram story.
That's so funny.
So that's something we can dig into later. Yeah, you might have missed it, but
I was near Kingston recently and about to drive through Bath, and I thought I should call Rob, and didn't, because I had to go back. But
son of a judge. Do you know this, Rob Baker?
I didn't actually know it, but I know Rob's been very generous in talking about my music and stuff. That's nice.
So Rob Baker, definitely a big Packham head.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, and we've talked before. He's a lovely guy. Paul Langlois and I talked more recently, maybe a year ago, because he wanted to learn how to. He said he has a gravelly voice. I play.
Smokes a lot of darts.
Yeah, I play your song "Little Fish" at campfires, but I don't know if I'm playing it properly. Can you make me a video? So I just, for him, I made a little video of me sitting and playing and singing the song, but focusing on my hands.
So quick note on the live stream from Radio Lady. Wants to know if we're both wearing shackets. So
she keeps giving me a hard time about this shacket.
What is a shacket? Is that just a hybrid?
I would stand up, but your basement is height challenged. I'm going to show her my, just so she can see. I'm all corduroy today, baby, including corduroy shoes. So there.
Don't hit your head.
No. All corduroy. So
Wow.
corduroy socks, corduroy
That's very
underwear.
70s, right? Corduroy is very 70s.
And I've got a medallion. No, I don't. I don't have corduroy anything on
Is
but the
this Gino
shacket.
Vanelli making his return? Okay.
No, it's the Chesterfield shop is what it is. Blair Packham as the Chesterfield.
So this is maybe it's a shack. The last few months have been, well, the last couple of months have been kind of tough in that like Mother Nature's been a beast.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm in survival mode. Like it's been busy, but not Toronto Mike podcast busy. And it's been kind of drawing from this. And there's a lot going on here. More in my El Macombo gig. Did you know I'm headlining at the El Macombo on May 21st?
I saw that. I intend to be there, but yeah, we'll.
Well, listen, you got to buy a ticket. I don't even have any control over the tickets.
I can understand that.
We'll
depending on how much they are. If I'm not there, you'll know why. I think your hair is thriving as usual in this time.
Yeah, my barber is moving to New Brunswick, but more on that later.
That's a drag. You'll have to go. It's a long way for haircuts. But to answer Sharon's complaint,
shacket complaint.
Yeah,
we don't know it's a complaint.
You're wearing I don't know if it's a shacket, but mine is. There's no question. I got mine in Germany.
So that would be like a spring jacket.
I bought mine in Germany. It's it's a shacket. It was Billy Bragg who pointed out the shacket on stage at Massey Hall. He said, my wife said I had to spruce myself up a little bit on stage, and I'll stop doing that. And so he said, so I got myself a shacket. And so he pointed out to the whole audience, and I thought, I got to get me a shacket. So when I was in Germany, I got this, and I like it a lot.
Well, you look good. You've kicked it up a notch for sure.
Well,
and I did note when you got out of your car, I noticed that you're wearing purple pants. And I said to you, only rock stars can wear purple. Like, I can't pull off purple pants. I figure you, Mick Jagger, like maybe Rod Stewart, these are the people who would wear purple pants.
Mick Jagger, Rod Stewart are always mentioned in the same sentence, and I'm getting tired of it, Mike.
Well, you've all written a catchy ditty or two, okay?
Well, yeah.
So you're ready to get rolling here? I feel like we've caught up
we haven't
enough.
even started yet.
Yeah,
Okay, yes.
So the first segment is going to be all about radio.
Okay.
A lot happened in radio this past quarter.
Yes.
And this segment, Blair Packham, is brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery. I'm actually going to go there at 2 o'clock today. So if you want to meet the great Toronto Mike, I'm at Great Lakes Brewery at 2 o'clock today. I got to pick up 4 cases of fresh craft beer. But I am sending you home with some fresh craft beer. Blair Packham.
Thank you. I love it.
Thank you to GLB.
Yes.
So, big news in Toronto radio land. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
7:02, good morning. Mainly sunny today, high of -1. And tomorrow, mainly sunny, high of +6. It is -7 right now.
-7. In the summer, it'll be +24.
Hopefully.
And this summer is when I'm going to celebrate my 40th anniversary living in this chum universe. 40 years doing this morning show.
40 years.
Isn't that amazing?
I love it.
I can't believe I'm saying that. But I also have to say something else. It's been a privilege, but I'm also going to step away this summer from this morning show and this station that I love. And I wanted to make that announcement because I can't hold a secret very well. So I had a lot of time to think about it, and I just want you to know being in this chum universe for 40 years has been so awesome. And I'm just wanted to tell everybody that this is my decision.
So there's the big news from Chum.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
That's a really big one. Yeah.
40 years.
Yeah.
In fact, I was wondering to myself, when Marilyn Dennis hangs it up for good this summer, who will be the longest serving morning show host in Toronto radio, like actively on the radio? Do you have a guess?
Well, based on the 40 years, I would have said her.
No,
but,
after her. Like when she retires.
Once she retires. No, I don't have a guess.
I believe it to be Roz and Mocha.
Oh, wow.
And I believe that John Moore is like weeks later. Like, yeah, I think they're very close.
I could have gone to John Moore, but Roz and Mocha I would have thought I just feels more recent.
Yeah, well, that's it. It is kind of recent, right? Like, so,
how long for them?
15 years, I think. 16
okay,
years.
And John Moore's less than that?
So I believe John Moore starts his morning show, Moore in the Morning, like literally weeks or months later.
Wow.
So Roz and Mocha, then John Moore, but weeks or months apart. But that's a big deal for Toronto radio to have Marilyn Dennis no longer hosting the morning show on 104.5.
What a busy broadcaster she has been.
Do you know her personally? Have you met her?
Well, we've met, but I wouldn't say I know her, and I wouldn't say she'd know me or remember me or anything. But, I was on when she was at, where was she at? The Marilyn Dennis show.
City Line. Oh, yeah, okay, two things here.
Yes.
She did take over for Deanie Petty on City TV's City Line.
Yeah.
Okay. But then there was that whole thing where Bell Media bought the Standard stations. Well, your dad worked at Standard. You know
and
Standard.
I was there at the time doing my show.
And there was that split where Bell Media ended up with CP24.
Yep.
And Rogers ended up with City TV because because Bell already had CTV and they couldn't have City TV.
You couldn't have too many properties. Yeah.
Right. But what happened there was Marilyn had to leave City Line because Rogers owned City Line and she was becoming a Bell Media talent on 104.5 Chum, which became a Bell Media station. So Marilyn had to leave City Line, and then Bell started up a new show for Marilyn on CTV called The Marilyn Dennis Show or something like that.
Right. Yeah, and so we crossed paths here and there, but I certainly wouldn't say she was a friend or anything like that, but I'm an admirer, and anybody who lasts that long in broadcasting, I mean, what a volatile industry. And for her to last that long is a testament to her abilities.
Yeah, it's very rare not to get fired in the radio.
Rare. Yeah, like every 6 months or every year. Get fired, get a format change, whatever.
Now, we don't know. I've been unsuccessful in my many attempts to get Marilyn Dennis on Toronto Mike. She's it would be a natural fit to have her on to talk about her radio career and coming to Chum and working with Roger Ashby and Rick Hodge. And then Rick, of course, goes to Standard to do this crazy thing with Easy Rock and CFRB 1010. And they fill that spot with Darren Lamb. Do you remember this name?
Yes, I do.
You ever meet Darren Lamb?
I don't think so.
Okay, I love that. This is my favorite part of the show where I name the people and you tell me. Okay.
And I just go, no.
Darren
sorry.
B. Lamb is how I think he was billed, but I think they filled the Rick Hodge spot with Darren B. Lamb. And then at some point, Darren B. Lamb left to go to CHFI and was co-hosting with like Maureen Holloway.
Wow.
And then he just seemingly, like, it's kind of a wild Toronto radio story, but he seemingly just disappears. Like, I believe him to be alive and well, but he just walks away from radio kind of mysteriously.
Right.
And we don't hear from Darren B. Lamb again.
This is not totally unique. This has happened before with other Toronto people who in broadcasting who just go away and you don't know where they're at.
But usually they're fired. Like, this is,
right,
I don't believe him to be fired. I believe he just sort of walked away.
Right. And I was also thinking of, was it
Who are you thinking of?
Chris Shepard?
Well, Shepard didn't have a gig, right? He did disappear,
Right.
and we can't find him.
Right.
Well
but there's
documented.
other people. I'm sure there. I wonder about Andrew Crystal. I mean, he obviously resurfaced a number of times.
He was on Sirius XM though.
Yeah.
And I
yes.
think he was possibly at Sirius XM when he passed. Maybe like he had the show
Possibly,
on Sirius XM.
yeah. I think he was working. Yeah.
But that's like the Witness Relocation program. Like you could have a show every day on Sirius XM, and we wouldn't have a clue.
No. It's funny how fragmented everything is now, to the point where, honestly, when you are naming names, I know the names.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, it's like if we were talking about the Blue Jays, I'd be like,
Right.
yeah, good for you, Mike.
Yeah.
Talk about that baseball team, whoever they are.
Well, Marilyn Dennis has been around so long that even us oldies,
even I think of Roz and Mocha as new.
It's true. That's right. By the way, Roz, I think, is older than me. Like this is
Really?
the young up and comers in Toronto area. So I'll
Right.
give you my theory on what I think happens next with Chum.
Okay.
And your job is to fake
Confirm or deny.
fake an interest in all of it. But again, I know you can't do this. Obviously, I have the wrong co-host for Rewinder. Get me Weisblot back. Well, just kidding. But do you know the current co-host of the morning show on Chum FM?
I do not.
That Marilyn Dennis is at the helm of?
Nope.
His name is David Corey.
Oh,
Do you know this name, David Corey?
I believe hasn't his name come up on Toronto Mike a number of times? I feel like there were episodes. Okay, I'm floundering here.
You're floundering.
Yeah.
No, I mean I don't think I've ever explicitly talked about David Corey on Toronto Mike. But so David Corey is a very good friend of Marilyn Dennis, and he kind of, I feel out. Here's what I think was the plan all along. Okay, I'll just tell you what I believe the plan to have been. Purely speculation on my part, but I think they saw that we'll get Marilyn to 40 years. That's a good milestone, a good run, right? It's 40 years on a morning show in Toronto is. I can only think of one.
Unbelievable.
One guy went
Wally
Crowder, right?
Yeah, Wally Crowder.
50 years, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so outside, and that's never going to happen again.
Did I ever tell you my Wally Crowder
Tell me
story?
the Crowder story.
Well, I lived in the Manulife Center with my parents when I was a teenager, and so did Wally Crowder. Not when he was a teenager, but when I was a teenager.
Right.
So my dad, at the time VP of Standard Broadcasting, they would see each other in the elevator and hello, Wally, good morning, or whatever, but they were colleagues and so forth.
Sure.
But I would see Mr. Crowder going into the elevator. Maybe I'd come home after school and he'd be waiting for the elevator. We got on the elevator and I guess someone had farted. The person who got off the elevator after. We get on and it's not good. And Wally Crowder says, "Oh, for God," in that broadcast voice. "Oh, for God's sakes, did somebody die inside you?"
Oh, you took the hit on that one.
No, not to me. Not to me.
Oh,
he was
but
saying
they- oh, I
he was
thought they were
yelling it at
blaming
the
you.
door
Oh, I
before
see.
the elevator
Oh, I
door
see.
closed. Yeah, he
Oh, my
wasn't.
God.
No, he wasn't saying it to me. But then I, who was a very delicate soul,
Right.
very very. So I rode the ride in silence the whole time.
See, that's the kind of radio stories I'm looking for from you, Blair Packham. By the way, you mentioned Andrew Crystal, and we
Yes.
have previously gone through your personal traumatic history of that man.
Yeah.
But did you know there's a fairly recent episode of Toronto Mike featuring Michelle Crystal?
I heard it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Michelle Crystal came on to talk about her
Her late husband.
late husband, Andrew Crystal. And I
Yeah.
wondered if you had listened to that.
I did listen to it, and it didn't offer any enlightenment for my particular experience of Andrew
Right.
Crystal, but it was interesting to listen to for sure. For sure, he was a total character. I could never be friends with him again after those incidents that happened way back when. But I don't.
Those incidents were pre-Michelle.
Yes, they were around 1980.
Yeah, way pre. Okay, because she enters the Crystal Nation.
The Crystal Palace. Yes,
when Crystal's in Halifax,
right.
which is after Mojo, and before he got the Fan 590 gig, and then he was on City News for a while.
Right. His real name, Nagel, by the way.
Okay.
How many people know that? Not many.
Well, listen, you just dropped that bomb on us, and here, let me get back to my.
I am useful, Mike.
You are useful. So here you go.
Mike had announced this as my last rewinder.
No way, I love these quarterly episodes.
Okay, good.
And
even though I know nothing about broadcasting.
But after
or the
Victoria Lord pumped your
Leafs.
tires, I never thought of you as funny, and then Victoria Lord has
Never thought of me as funny. Oh my God.
Victoria's
okay.
got me all turned around. Like now I think, oh, that's a great guy to
And
co-host Rewinder.
he's a good guy. I should get him in sometime. Yeah.
You're more than just Rick Emmett's driver, as far as I'm concerned.
And engineer.
And engineer.
I
Well,
just
hold on,
realized-
Rick. There is a.
Yeah.
I'm going to drop some triumph on you
Okay.
for
All
the
right.
music segment. So
Yes,
we'll get
no,
back
I can't
to
get
Rick.
you tickets.
And Victoria Lord sent over. No, I wasn't going to answer. I'm too young for triumph. Come on, Blair. But Victoria Lord sent Gil Moore, not Doug Gilmore, but Gil Moore to the basement studio.
That's
I
great.
didn't even know that until she mentioned it yesterday. Okay, so really quickly back to Chum, because everybody wants the Chum chatter here.
Okay.
I believe they looking down the line on Marilyn Dennis, the exit plan, you know, and they're like, okay, Marilyn, we're gonna get you to 40 years, and then you're going to present to the world that you're hanging up your decision after 40 years, you're gonna step down, okay? So we're gonna take FOTM Jamar McNeil. We're taking him off the morning show because he was implanted there kind of as the Roger Ashby replacement. This guy Jamar, American by the way, came over twice. We got to get him over a third time. Jamar McNeil is going to go in afternoons to co-host with FOTM Josie Dye, who many know best from CFNY and then Indy 88.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the afternoon drive, because the plan is to take that afternoon drive and slide it into the morning show. So to get there, because there's a bit of ramp there as we build the Jamar and Josie show on afternoons on Chum, we bring in Marilyn's BFF, a chap named David Corey. Just, you're going to co-host with Marilyn. She'll be comfy with you. You're a bud. And then we'll get it to 40 years. Marilyn will step away. David will say, bye-bye, I'm going to do other things. Jamar and Josie slide into the mornings. Now you just need to replace Jamar and Josie in the afternoons. And I'm going to speculate Marilyn Dennis's son, Adam Wilde, slides into that spot with Jax, Adam's co-host on a podcast right now. This is what I think was always the plan. Let's see if it transpires, Blair Packham.
That's very interesting, and the idea of a broadcasting dynasty is not new in Toronto, actually. Not to the same
Glenn
degree.
Crowder was doing the Woodbine stuff.
That's right, and there's what's her name? Elaine Loring. Her father was Rex Loring, and also Jay Nelson and Kevin Nelson, a dear friend of Radio Lady, by the way, Sharon Taylor, who's listening.
Died too young.
Yeah, he did. He definitely did.
Both of them.
And I knew him when I was 14 years old.
When you were working with Wiseblood at U of T Radio.
That's right. Okay, folks, for the people who don't understand that reference, I used to say to Mark Weisblatt that we were contemporaries, and he would take great offense at this because I'm about 10 years older.
See, that's the difference between you and I.
Yeah.
I'll drop a very inside nugget that will only appeal to the 5% who remember that, okay? And I actually won't explain it. Like, it's there. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, that's on you. Follow more closely. Maybe you'll get the next one. And you feel this radio need to tell the newbies what we're talking about.
Explainer.
Yeah,
that's me.
The new theme here. Okay, so you mentioned the mysterious disappearance of Chris Shepherd,
yes,
which has been covered extensively on Toronto Mike.
Yes.
Okay. Since you were here, that CFNY documentary, which I've also been covering extensively, did debut on TVO Docs.
Right.
Did you watch the CFNY documentary?
I keep meaning to. I haven't yet. I will definitely.
It's only 60 minutes.
Yeah, I will. I'm definitely interested. I was not really a CFNY listener, and that cuts me off from most of my contemporaries.
But I feel like this was made for the non-listeners. Like I've no one's covered the CFNY doc closer than I have, and to the chagrin of the executive producers. I should show you the emails I got from Ivor Hamilton and Scott Turner. Like, my investigative reporting on the CFNY doc has not made me any friends on the inside.
No, really, I didn't know that. Wow.
And I'm at an event, and I didn't get an email from this gentleman, but he was, I was told by the other two gentlemen that he was in cahoots with them on this matter. But I am going to be appearing at a book launch for a new book called Track Changes by Cam Gordon.
Oh.
And I saw, I was looking at who else is making an appearance, because I'm on the mic. I think I'm on for 2 to 5 minutes. Maybe I'm practicing my Elmo gig on May 21st. Who knows? But who else is there? Oh, Alan Cross is there. So absolutely 100%. I'm going to make a beeline to the to FOTM Alan Cross, look him in his beautiful eyes, and just make sure we're good, because I feel I was fair in just doing my job to cover this thing. And yeah, I learned a lot, because you know what I did that no one else did? Talk to the director of the documentary.
Oh.
Even though apparently he was unauthorized, and I got a very interesting, nasty, I won't call it nasty, but a very strongly worded email from the producers of this film. I guess they own the film, explaining I'm not allowed to talk to Matt Schechter, the director of this documentary, because he is unauthorized to speak about this documentary.
That seems odd to me, but and I don't know if there's any legal basis for that.
No. Listen,
you can't
tell me. You need to. That's a you problem.
Yeah, and you can tell him, and if he decides to comply, or maybe it's in his contract,
Right.
but it has nothing to do with you.
I don't talk to people who are authorized to speak on matters. I talk to who I think would be somebody with a perspective on the matter that I want to explore, and they either say yes or no.
And it's up to them if they feel they can't.
And if they're Bruce McCullough, they say yes and then no.
Poor Bruce, getting beaten up here. Bruce is, you'll get Bruce, I'm sure of it.
Because that'll be my third, okay? And I'm actually wondering, could I get the complete set? Like, would somebody like a Dave, because Dave Foley will do things like Q.
Right.
So I'm not pretending this is Q. Clearly it's not, because I think Bruce would have fulfilled his obligation with Q if he was in the Q calendar. But I'm being hard on Bruce. But I do wonder if somebody like Dave Foley would ever come on a podcast like Toronto Mike.
I wonder. Yeah.
Only time will tell.
I've my contact with Dave Foley has been pretty limited, but of course he's friends of friends. Craig Northey is the guy who actually produced the Bruce McCullough record and got me the gig, as he has in the past with Bruce, recording stuff in Toronto. And Craig Northey is with the Odds, of course, and he and Dave Foley are tight.
Also with the Trans-Canada Highwaymen.
Yes, in fact.
And very close to Stephen Page, because they're in that trio together. Right?
Yeah, and Stephen Page has his summer camp coming up again. I think it's third year in a row. Do you know anything about that?
No.
It's great.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I do. I really want to go, although I want to go as an insider. I don't really want to pay.
But is it for adults? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's for adults, but it's on a lake somewhere, and it's and you
don't like
pay
lakes.
I love lakes. Lakes, lake, ocean, it's just like Jamaica to me. It's all Jamaica. That's a call back. You see, I have to explain.
That's all your years on CFRB.
Yes, that's right. Well, because the demographic is older, and you want to go slow.
With the co-host who doesn't like me.
Yeah. Oh, Bob Reed. Yeah. Well, see how quickly I guessed that? I don't know if he doesn't like you. He's very circumspect.
Well, we're speculating based on
Yes.
the evidence at hand that he might not be a big fan.
Circumspect on when your name is mentioned, he goes, and that's it. So I don't know.
Could be worse.
Yeah, could be way worse.
Hey, let me wrap up the CFY doc thing, and then we're going to get to another radio news item that actually is also all of these. I have 3 items here, and they're all chorus related. Okay. Because Matt Schichter revealed, he's the director of the CFNY doc. He revealed that Chorus did approve this doc before it could be viewed. Like, that's an interesting little detail that Chorus, who currently owns CFNY, needed to approve, even though all the times covered. I think everything. I mean, they do refer to the fact that Martin Streak had passed away, and of course he passed away when Chorus owned CFNY. But everything in this doc is from the Spirit of Radio era, which is the David Marsden era, which is pretty much like 77 to 87, which is way before Chorus would be an owner of this station. I don't even know if Chorus, I don't think Chorus existed. But
I told a David Marsden story.
Go ahead, because he just
to my
celebrated
class.
his 85th birthday.
Yes,
Happy birthday, David Marsden.
And I like David very much, actually. I don't know him very well, but I've known him a long, long time. So back when I had recorded my first demo of my first song ever, I decided that all I had to do was get it to somebody famous, and they would make me famous, because that's how it works.
Right.
You get it, someone famous recognizes your genius, and then they make you famous as well.
Right.
So I had a cassette, and I sent it to Chum, and I was a fan. I had been in a band that David Marsden managed. It was called Chicken, and I was in the band for about a month.
Okay.
And they rehearsed in my basement. Eddie Valaquette and Ben Haynes and Dave Tomlinson and me. And so we rehearsed in the basement. Then they went on to make an album and so forth. Anyway, so I felt I had a connection to David Marsden. So I sent my cassette to Chum on 1331 Yonge Street, and then proceeded to call about every 2 days to see if David had listened. Now, in my memory, my voice hasn't changed yet, but I'm pretty sure it had. I was 17.
Right.
And so I would call. Just wondering if David Marsden can call me back. So anyway, eventually I get a call. I'm at home in the Manulife Center on the 47th floor.
Yeah.
And the phone rings. It's a landline. And I pick it up, and Blair, it's David Marsden. And I'm like, oh my God, it's David Marsden. And he goes, listen, I was in traffic driving, and I had your cassette on. And you know how when you're driving you can get distracted easily? Well, I got distracted and I turned it off. And that's just about where it sits now. So I just want to wish you luck with everything, all right? Thanks so much. And that was the end of the call. And I was like, oh no, I'm not going to be famous. So that's my David
So
Marsden story.
I wanted to let you finish this story because you tell it so brilliantly.
Thank
but
you.
I just want you to know you told that story at the last episode.
Oh,
of
the
Rewinder.
last one? I thought I told it before
Okay.
that. I
You
thought I was
told-
spreading
you-
it out.
Okay, well, it's only the 4th episode of Rewinder.
Oh,
okay?
that's
So
true.
there's
Old
only-
Grandpa Packham. All right.
It's great, but a
Yeah.
couple of that's a great story, and I like your.
I think my telling of it was better this time.
Yeah, because your voice, the young Blair voice you use,
Young Blair.
sounds a lot like me. Like that's the same impression you do of me, which is funny.
I'm Toronto Mike Boone.
And the Packham, who is also known as Blair, and Micah Boon Boon too.
Mikey Boone Boone. Yeah,
So
that's
clever,
right.
so clever.
the impressions I do now, I'm just doing an inventory for myself. David Marsden, Mike Boone, young
Mark
Blair,
Weisblatt.
Mark Weisblatt, Alan Rickman, Jeremy Irons, and Shaggy. There.
Right.
So
hey, breaking news on the live stream.
Yes.
Canada Kev says Shackets are the best of both worlds.
Thank you,
So I
Canada
don't know.
Kev.
I still don't know what it is, but if I'm rocking one right now,
Yeah.
I like to rock, the best of both worlds. But this is more exciting news to me that radio lady Sharon Taylor, FOTM, was program director at 680 CFTR before it went all news. Was at KISS 92.5 when Garth Brooks was ruling the radio roost.
That's right.
She says Bob Reed hates me too, and she put it in all caps.
We don't know that.
She put it. I'm reading it
Well,
right
just
now.
because it's all in all caps doesn't mean,
She speaks for herself. Okay?
Okay, fine. We don't know that about either of you. All we know is I like the word circumspect.
Well, that is a good word.
Yeah, he doesn't go either way when he talks.
He's indifferent. He's
I think it's more
apathetic.
than indifference.
Apathy is killing him. Okay, so to wrap the CFY doc, and I won't go into too much detail and dirt, except I have in my possession literal letters from lawyers to the director, from the producer, the executive producers, basically executive producers saying basically this is a piece of shit. We want to get this back so we can fix it. And so when you follow the threads and you realize what was actually aired, that 60-minute version on TVO, is with a couple of title card changes, other than a couple of minor title card changes. It is exactly what Schichter delivered. Because I've seen the version delivered by Schichter. I saw it before. They dropped the TVO doc. I compared. I've done my journalistic. Maybe nobody cares but me, but I feel like this is something of interest to the CFY heads. It's not supposed to be a PR machine. Everything was amazing, because it kind of comes off as a love letter, but it's like everything was absolutely fucking amazing. They played the best music. This was the best time in the history of radio. And then Marsden left, and then it all went to what it became, which is like corporate radio.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I within reason, I
That's
feel
what
like somebody should be giving a shit about these details. And it seems like I'm the only one who's digging in and having these conversations.
Yeah. And I know some civilians who have watched it, like people who aren't in radio and aren't in music, but they're curious and they enjoyed it. But I think that they found it a bit of a puff piece.
It is a love letter.
Yeah.
And I think it's a love letter to our friend David Marsden.
Right. Well, I do an impression of David Marsden. Have I told you that?
And I love hearing your impression of David Marsden, because if you clock the speed at which he's speaking, and I know that is how David Marsden would speak, and then you compare it to the footage we have of Dave Mickey on 590 CKY, it is I think 10 times speed is Dave Mickey, 10 times. So it's kind of amazing he was both personas.
I do an impression of David Marsden. I'm just going to keep saying that.
Do your Dave Mickey.
I know I can't do that. I could do my Kevin Nelson, though. Kevin Nelson, no, it wouldn't sound.
I wouldn't even know.
Well, that's the thing, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to wrap up radio.
Okay, radio.
I'm trying to keep it to 2 hours.
Yeah, okay.
We suck at this.
Fine,
but
fine.
The
Got to
couple
leave
more
time for my David Marsden impression.
Right. A couple of radio notes from Chorus. One is that they moved. We talked last time on Rewinder that John Oakley had stepped down after a long run.
Yes.
Okay. He took over mornings for Humble and Fred when they left Mojo Radio. We talked about that when we talked about Andrew Crystal. But Humble and Fred went to Mix 99.9.
Yeah.
Standard broadcasting, right?
Yep. Those were the days.
Those were the days. Okay. Yeah. And John Oakley got the gig from 1010. John Oakley went to 640, and then he eventually did move to afternoons. I've had many chats. I had Supriya Dwivedi on with Mike Stafford, and they were the morning show. But John Oakley was in afternoons, and we talked about his long run. Well, he's retired now, and Ben Mulrooney got the afternoon slot. So if you're wondering who took over for John Oakley afternoons on 640, the answer is son of Prime Minister Brian, almost FOTM Ben Mulrooney.
I'm curious if that's also, is it just a radio gig?
No, well, he is hosting a politics show on Global.
That was the one that I had read about, yes. And too much Ben Mulrooney for my taste. I got to say that more clearly. Too much Ben Mulrooney for my taste.
Well, the nice thing about all this is you don't have to listen to Ben Mulrooney afternoons on 640. You don't have to listen. You don't have to. You know? I always tell people this when they say they don't like somebody. I'm like, well, you don't have to listen.
No, you're absolutely right. And I don't need to express my opinion except that.
No, but what else are you on Rewinder for?
Exactly.
If you think he sucks, say he sucks.
Oh, I didn't. No. I just said I don't need to hear any more of him. That's all.
No more Ben.
But I know some ladies who love him. You know?
Really?
Yeah, and they think I always think, really, like,
well, he's available now.
Looks trump his politics and his opinion.
I'm triggered by the use of that word Trump.
I know Trump. I know. I'll just.
I can't play euchre anymore. No joke. We need a new room. I love euchre, like many an Ontario native does. But
Radio Lady is a euchre player, by the way.
Okay,
and she taught me a card game while we were in Jamaica, but I don't remember what. Oh no, it's called. Not kidding. It's called Stupid. I remember
named
that.
after you.
Yeah, thank you. And euchre player, and also she was a member of a curling club. So, like, really.
She's a true Canadian.
Sharon. Yeah, no, but it's also like, when is the pickleball going to happen? You know.
Okay. Now, if you're wondering, you're probably wondering who's taking Ben's old spot, which I
was wondering. I was chomping at the bit. I was ranting and raving.
A chap named Brad Smith, who was like a Bachelor Canada person who possibly played some professional football. I don't know a lot about Brad Smith, but he's got the old Ben Mulrooney spot on 640.
Right. Well,
There you go.
Congratulations, Brad Smith.
So there you go. Here's where you come for your radio news. One last item.
Yes.
There was a midday announcer on Edge 102, the
Yes.
aforementioned CFNY.
Yes.
And, or is it 102.1, the Edge? I never knew, but I get confused. But she went by the handle MK. And MK was fired. This is a sad, true story that she was only on CFNY, kind of live and local, and they fired her, and she's been replaced by a chap named Jeremy Baker, who is on like several radio stations at once. Like, so basically it's cost cutting because Jeremy's already doing his show for a bunch of stations in the Chorus network, and now it'll be on 102, and they don't have to pay MK that monster salary she was probably demanding.
Yeah. Excuse me. That's radio right there. Radio Lady would have something to say about that. I think Radio Lady is turning into a socialist. She was an avid capitalist when she worked in radio, and the avid unfettered capitalism is what drives those large corporations, and so they see an opportunity to cost cut. And even somebody like MK is going to suffer because of that. I mean, the radio show that I did with Bob Reed cost them very, very little, like in the hundreds of dollars per show, like several $100. Like it was embarrassingly low. We were given advertising time to sell, but they cut our show. Now that was more of a format thing, I think. But still, if there's savings to be had, and I like to think that Radio Lady is much more sympathetic to that now. But that was part of her gig, was finding savings so that you keep the profits up, which is understandable, but also it's sad when it affects people you like. And
of course, the financial difficulties at Chorus are well documented.
Yes. But, as you say, losing MK is not going to fix that. So.
No, sorry to hear this, that MK lost her gig. So somebody, I think he might be Vancouver based. I got to check out where Jeremy Baker actually is when he records, but he's on several Chorus stations now. Right. That's the future, maybe, of radio. Chorus has just one lineup for rock and one lineup for, I don't know, pop or top 40, and then maybe that depends what you slide in or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the appeal of radio was always the personalities. So
live and local, right?
Yeah, that's what it was. I remember when WPHD in Buffalo, which I used to listen to as an alternative to Chum, and I think that was just Chum FM at the time in Toronto, because I was in high school. WPHD went to an automated format, which was revolutionary and unheard of, and it was awful because there would be an announcer every 3 songs that was pre-recorded by somebody in Dallas, and and it was all formatted and everything. It was just really, for me, not that interesting. Now, if you're listening to the radio as background and you just want the music as background, I suppose that's fine. But for me, I wanted to know what was going on in the announcers' heads and their lives and stuff. And I think it speaks to why podcasts are so popular, because you get that. You're not getting music, that's for sure.
Well, similar to what you're saying right now, Blair Packham, what I miss is the music announcer who would give you some context about the music they were playing. And Bookie did this quite well.
Oh, really well.
The late, great Bookie. Yeah. But I think about even when, you'd hear George Stroumboulopoulos back when he was at CFNY, but there are certain announcers that, and this speaks to some of the greatness we had in the Spirit of Radio era of 102.1, when the jocks, they loved the music, but they gave a shit. Yeah. And there would be efforts to educate you. And I know that's probably why Ongoing History of New Music was born. They needed some foreground programming, and they could, educate idiots like me in the early 90s about how we get here. Oh, there's this band Television playing CBGBs, and this leads to that. And then, you can talk about the Ramones, et cetera, et cetera. But I like it when a jock tells you about that artist you just heard. They're from here. They're influenced by this. You might also have heard them do this, and this guy's brother is in this. But I just like knowing that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have any of that right now.
Me too. No, we don't have anything like that. I was having a discussion, having a discussion with somebody about CBGB recently.
Yeah.
And they didn't know that it stood for.
Can I guess?
Yes, go.
CBGB?
Yeah.
Country, CBGB, bluegrass, blues.
That's exactly right, but most people don't know that. They think of it as a punk club on
We're the
Bowery.
smart people, Blair.
Well, exactly. But you, unlike me, I approached the owner of I had an appointment with Hilly Crystal, the owner of CBGB,
Yes.
to manage the Jitters in about 1982.
Wow.
And we had a beer and talked, and he said no, he wasn't interested.
Was it a Great Lakes beer?
I'm sorry to say it was not, because I think it preceded Great Lakes.
87, I
existence.
think, is the birth year of the Great
and
Lakes
probably
beer, right?
not in Manhattan at that time.
Only available in Ontario, Jamaica, and Manhattan. All right, we got to get to TV, man.
Yeah.
It's too easy to talk to you.
It
okay?
is. I know.
I do
that.
want to
Women say
clarify.
that all the time.
I think I mentioned that. I think I said, if I play back the tape, that euchre is popular amongst Ontarians, and the reason I added that clarifier is because I am married to a woman from Edmonton, Alberta, who had never heard of euchre, and I was curious about this because both my grandmothers were playing it when I was a kid. Like, it was seemingly everywhere. We played it all through high school. Euchre, I play a lot of euchre. Euchre's the
Wow.
game, and apparently, and I'm just bringing this up because Radio Lady just mentioned this on the live stream. If you get west of Ontario, they don't know euchre.
And okay, so Radio Lady is she would know. She's spent a lot of time in the West.
She would know, but I also heard.
But you've heard it from Monica as well.
Monica, I mean,
Yeah.
I taught her the game.
Yeah.
And I was shocked she didn't know euchre.
Yeah.
And then I learned, they're not playing euchre in Edmonton high school.
Radio Lady also will tell you about the people, how it's common for married couples to have separate beds in the same bedroom in the West.
I don't know anything about this, but that,
I wish we could get her on right now to tell.
We'll save that for the next episode of Rewinders. Send us a detailed
and then,
email.
Can we finally get to my David Marsden impression?
Media. We're now moving on to television.
Oh,
and
TV. I've
Blair
heard of it.
Packham.
Yes.
This segment is brought to you by Palma Pasta. They're catering my youngest's 10th birthday party
Really?
on Sunday.
That's so great.
She loves the penne with rosé sauce. I have in my freezer right now, Blair Packham, a large beef lasagna. It is frozen, and I know you've had several in the past, and they're delicious, and I'm excited that Palma Pasta sent one over for you.
And beef lasagna was my nickname in high school.
Beef is Lee Eckley's nickname.
Really?
And he was on Chum FM.
Right. I remember I met Lee a few times. In the interim, between Rewinder episodes, while I was working on my David Marsden impression for the, which I'll be working on for the next one as
I
well.
want to hear it next Rewinder.
Yeah, that's right. You do. Owen, my son, and I, we were at Longo's and saw the Longo's lasagna and thought to ourselves, well, we like that Palma Pasta lasagna a lot. We really do like it a lot. So we got the Longo's. It was horrible.
Yeah. What's interesting is
horrible.
some Longos are now selling actual Palma Pasta
Well,
lasagna.
I thought this was repackaged Palma. I
No,
actually
it would
looked
say,
on it.
It'll say Palma Pasta. It'll have the logo and say Palma Pasta.
It was absolutely and utterly not Palma Pasta, which is excellent.
You know what? Why do you think Peter Gross was on yesterday?
To get a lasagna.
To get a
I saw the
lasagna.
picture of him holding the lasagna, and I thought, that's why he's there.
By the way, you got to hear the Peter Gross. Only a half an hour. We had just come out of a court appearance, but he
Like you guys getting divorced? What's going on?
he picked his lawyer by Googling lawyer and hiring the first link.
Wow.
And this story, that's terrible, right? If your friend said that, you'd be, oh my God, that's
What are
not
you
how you
doing?
get a lawyer.
Yeah.
But we have a mutual friend, Peter and I, who would do us a favor with no invoice at the end of this conversation, who is a lawyer. Like, I don't understand. And I said to Peter, because Lorne Honickman helped out Mike Stafford after hearing Mike Stafford's plight on Toronto.
No kidding. That's so nice.
By hooking him up with a lawyer who works on contingency. It all
That's
comes
so
back. It's all
nice.
coming back to chorus again.
Yeah,
We're getting
yeah.
to TV now, except to say, wouldn't you pick up the phone, call your friend Lauren, and just say, here's my predicament. Do you have any advice for me before I hire the first lawyer link I see when I Google it?
Yes. That seems unwise. He's
$8,000 deep with this lawyer who he now wants to fire so he can represent himself.
Oh my God.
You got to listen.
I will listen. I'm sure I'll enjoy it. I would call David Steinberg first because he will dispense advice to his
But will
friends.
he send an invoice at the end of that? David
He
Steinberg?
actually won't because he'll recommend that you talk to so and so.
Steinberg's going to come up because when we do get to music,
Yeah.
there is a doc coming out, and I was looking at the credits and I saw Steinberg's name.
Oh yeah, that
attached
makes
to it.
sense. Any music doc Made in Canada, I wouldn't be surprised to see his name.
Okay. We'll get to him. But I want to start with television by telling you, beloved FOTM Steve Packham can now be heard. In fact, he's already done 4 episodes at the moment we're speaking. He's now heard live on breakfast television in a segment called Packham on Politics, which airs every weekday morning at 6:50 a.m. So Steve Packham gets up, he gets out of bed, he drags a comb across his head, and he gets his ass to wherever that is. I guess it's up at Bloor and Mount Jarvis, whatever's up there, the Rogers
Jarvis
complex. Yeah. Shout out to my
Ted
third
Rogers
one.
Way, they call it, that segment up there. Not kidding.
So he gets up there, I guess, and records live with a young reporter named Karen with a C and a Y. If you're spelling Karen, I would pronounce the last name, but I can't.
So that would be what?
650.
Yeah, Karen. No, you're not saying the Y's not at the beginning.
Karen is, so it's Caryn.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you.
And I watched the first couple, and it's 6 to 7 minutes of Steve Packham talking about the politics of the day, which has been like 100% Middle East war.
Yes.
For the first, that's where we're at. So,
right.
And Pacham's always good, and this co-host Karen is very good. But it's interesting to me that Steve Packham, does it in person live at the studio for 6 to 7 minutes every morning at 6:50 a.m. But that is TV news.
That's it. That is very interesting. Yeah. That's quite a commitment on his part.
And at some point, Packham will return to Toronto Mike, and I will ask him, just more details. Like, I wonder if this is tied to some kind of sponsorship or something that might come. I wonder if the Packham podcast will now be on the Rogers Podcast Network. Like, I think there's a lot more moving pieces to this, but Steve Packham, who's no longer full-time at TVO, can do whatever he wants, and he's sort of showing up in a lot of places. He's on 640, he's showing up there, he's still working a little bit for TVO, doing TVO Today Live, and he's got his own podcast. There's a lot going on in the Packham universe.
That's good.
Yeah.
Have I done my David Marsden for you? No, I don't have much to say, because I'm afraid now that I'll say, I knew him back at UFT Radio, and you'll say, yes, you've said that on every appearance on Toronto
That's
Mike.
different than telling the specific story.
I could tell you the specific story about...
I like knowing how you're connected to these names.
Not the last, but one of the last Toronto Mike, the TMLX Live things. What's the name of that place?
Alma's Kitchen?
No, it was
GLB Brew Pub.
Yeah, GLB
Jarvis and Queens Quay.
Exactly. So I was there. Packham was there. I felt the need to go over and say hi. Do you remember me from YouTube?
You didn't do that?
I did, okay. but then he said something that confused me. Something about old friends or something like that. And I went, well, I don't know about old friends or something. And then Cam Gordon's partner, whose name escapes me,
Megan MF. I don't know if we're allowed to say her name.
Well, yeah, just call her
I'm
MF.
not fixing that.
Anyway, she was nice, but she laughed and said, he's not talking about you. And I found that embarrassing. I went, oh, okay, and I walked away.
She's a reporter herself, by the way, and I have booked a country music singer named Megan Patrick.
Oh, I know her name only, but yeah.
But that name is similar.
Yeah, she's got.
But we're not naming this.
But we're not
person.
naming. No, exactly,
no.
Yeah.
MF will refer to her.
Right.
What's that Simpsons joke where he goes, "I'm Homer S." No, that's not that. I'm H. Simpson. Do you remember this Simpsons joke? Okay, so Packham's got a new gig on breakfast television. I have another piece of breakfast television news for you, and I have some audio that'll tie this in. Let's listen for about a minute.
Good morning, everybody. This is usually where we do a little city shout out. Sure. Devo Brown, you are back from a little trip, a little business, a little pleasure, looking amazing.
Thank you.
But right now, you have a very special announcement to share with everybody.
I do. I'm glad to be back and good to see you guys. Happy Thursday. Thank you for waking up with BT. All right, let's get into it. This is a day that I didn't think would ever happen. It is completely surreal, and I'm going to get straight to it, and then I'll explain more. I will be leaving BT. My last day will be March 27th. I want you to know this was my decision, one that's been a battle in my mind and my world for many, many months. Look, I'm at a point in my career and my life where I don't want the what ifs. What if I did this? What if I did that? You don't want regrets. That's for anybody. There are opportunities that I do want to consider and explore, both at home here and in the United States and across the world. And I want to really, really kind of dive into that. And now's the time to do it.
So that's Devo Brown announcing on the aforementioned breakfast television that his last day is March 27. He's out of there.
I feel you, Devo. I really do. No, I mean, now is the time. Right now, for anybody, if you're feeling, aimless, or you're feeling like there's more to life and so forth, now is the time. So, just on a human level, I get it. I completely get it, and the explanation to me suffices. I do think it's sad, though, that in the world of broadcasting, you have to give the disclaimer, and I want people to know that this is my decision. And I think, because it's so brutal in broadcasting.
And we're so used to being told, like Kevin Frankish, for example, right? Where you're told, I've decided to step down.
Yeah.
Where you later find out, because they come on Toronto Mic'd and they tell you, no, they're tapped on the shoulder.
Yeah.
And they're told, like, this is the Christine Bentley story that she told me a decade ago. But you get told there's two ways to do this.
Yeah.
You can walk out with a box.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows you're fired. Or we can pretend you're either moving on to other projects or retiring, even though you don't want to retire.
Yeah.
And we can have a cake and a goodbye and then adios. And a lot of times people choose that second route because of pride.
Pride. It seems more humane, for sure. I even wonder, and this is pure speculation, and it's just me wondering, but Marilyn Dennis. Maybe she wanted to push for 50 years instead of just 40.
Okay, so it's interesting you brought that up, because I'm not here to tell somebody they're misleading us. And I don't know why Marilyn is leaving after 40 years. But in my heart, I feel like I've heard this story before, like it echoes.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking now, I'm going to say some heavyweights, okay? Who's the heavyweight? Aaron Davis, right?
Yeah.
When you find things out after the fact that are a bit of a mind blow, where you think somebody 100% of their own volition decides they're going to step away from their lucrative morning show, and then you find out later, they were told time's up.
Yeah.
So I'm not calling anyone a liar, and I'm here to say why when Devo says that sentence, we're all thinking he was told to step aside. Pakin's coming, buddy. Get out of here.
Maybe it's Pakin.
For 6 to 7 minutes.
Yeah, exactly, man.
Does a great job, Pakin, by the way.
But who knows, And I just want everyone to know that Bob Reed and I left our show not of our own volition. It was Mike Ben Dixon, but he was just following orders. It was a format change, and we lasted 11 years. So therefore, but I think most people in broadcasting don't leave of their own volition. I think it's just the way it is, because it's a brutal business.
Right. But I think, and there are only so many lucrative gigs in radio. There are fewer than ever before.
Very few, yes. But
Marilyn had one.
Yeah, Marilyn, yeah. And maybe that's part of the calculation as well. People thought that about Colbert. It wasn't a political decision on CBS's part. It was more the budget. TV with its shrinking audience, and
they had 200 people working on that show.
Yeah, and then you're spending millions of dollars.
We have 2 people working on this show.
Yes, and we're better than Colbert. Come on, come on.
We deliver the goods.
That's right. But anyway, broadcasting is a brutal business. It's funny that I ended up as much in broadcasting as I was, which is still pretty minor.
But it was in your blood.
But and my dad, that's the funny thing. His whole thing, he worked for Shell Oil when I was born. But then after that, it was all broadcasting.
You were exposed to it at a young age, and you're in elevators with Crowder.
With Crowder. And do you remember Charles Templeton?
I know the name, but I can't place.
Well, he was on CTV. He was a commentator, and anyway, my father took great pride in, when I was maybe 6 or 7. He introduced me to Mr. Templeton at the CTV in Agincourt, where it was CFTO at the time, but it was CTV affiliate, and we went there, and I saw my first videotape machine at the time too. That was mind-boggling. Anyway.
But Devo
old
Brown,
Grandpa Packham is going down memory lane again.
Well, we need you. I represent Gen X. We need you to represent the greatest generation.
That's right. The greatest. I'm David. Okay, I'll stop that.
He is the greatest. He's 85. So
I know. No, good for him.
Generation.
I didn't imagine. I'm always surprised when any of people I know make it that long. So,
jeez, yeah. He's not slowing down either. Nope. He's the highlight of that CFNY doc.
He's got longer hair than I've ever had in my life.
He's got great head of hair.
He really does.
He's doing live appearances. He's going on tour now, basically. He's having this CFNY doc has really rejuvenated the CFNY nostalgia lore. It's really pumped some air in those tires. So Devo Brown, just to wrap up.
Yep.
Sweet Devo. I understand he's also on 92.5 Kiss FM. So he's also on the radio, but so he's in that Rogers family. And, if we take him at his word, and I'm not going to call Devo a liar, he has decided to go do other things. So maybe he wasn't ecstatically happy with his role at Breakfast Television. I don't know, but he's gone March 27.
In my role as the explainer, I want to disclaimer and say I wasn't suggesting he was lying either. It's just that we hear that so often that that it's fully my own choice.
We all raise a Spockian eyebrow when we hear somebody's
That said,
leaving.
his explanation sufficed for me. I believe him, and I do think now is the time for anybody. I was telling my students yesterday, they're all students learning to be musicians and producers and so forth, and I said, when does your career start? And they're, the rhetorical question. They sort of looked uncomfortable, and I said, it's already started. You're doing it right now. You're already expected to be a professional. You're already expected to do your best work and so forth. The time is now.
The time is now.
Yeah.
What's the line from Kill Bill? Now's the fucking time. Lucy Liu. It's a great scene. Okay. So have you had any personal interactions with FOTM Liz West?
I don't think so.
No Liz West encounter. So Liz West, who was...
We dated, but other than that, no.
Well,
we did not.
She's a beautiful woman.
Yes, she's a beautiful woman. I don't believe I've ever met Liz.
So I remember her best from City TV. She was heavily involved there. But most recently, and unbeknownst to me, I should know these things, but she was on Zoomer Radio. And she had been there since 2022, but then she suddenly resigned her post at Zoomer Radio. And we all wondered, the entire nation wondered, what is next for Liz West, beloved FOTM? And it turns out she has joined CP24 as an anchor. So if you're ever in a coffee shop or a pizza place and they have CP24 going, you may look up and see the face of Liz West.
My dentist plays CP24, and there's a TV on the ceiling.
That is fancy. You're lying down, you're watching CP24.
Sorry.
Are the captions on?
They are, and I'm getting a foot rub at the same time.
That's a hell of a hygienist there. There are foot rubs and there are foot rubs.
Actually, I'm not kidding. I went to a thing called the Zen Dental Spa, and I went there a number of times right down the street from me. And so they do the part of the cleaning, and then they say, okay, now would you like to do your hands? So they get you out of the chair, and you put your hand in this hot wax. And then they put this glove on you, and then you put your other hand in the hot wax, and then you're sitting in the chair with the rest of your cleaning with your hands covered in hot wax. I mean, it was very strange.
You got better dental insurance than I do.
No insurance. I'm a self-employed person.
Well, me too.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. But it was included in the price. It was still cheaper than my other dentist.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah,
And
they were very nice, too.
I feel like this is the radio lady episode of Rewind. Because one last fun fact on our way, a couple more little tidbits in TV, and we're going to move on.
Yeah.
The last fun fact is the first time, you mentioned that radio lady had been to Negril?
Yes.
20 times or something like that?
Yeah.
The first time she ever went to Negril, guess who she went with?
Yes, I remember, actually, but I don't remember. Hold on, let her tell.
Well,
you tell for her.
Well, how can she tell? She's typing away over there and wherever
Furiously,
she is.
I would say.
Liz West.
Oh, there you go. That's why I was thinking of Liz
You're not
West
so quick
recently.
on your feet. What's going on
No,
here?
I forgot. She mentioned that. She told me that.
Well, there you go.
That's right.
But
because I was thinking of the other name that came up that keeps escaping me, who she went with. But that guy was a behind-the-scenes guy.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh, God.
Well, while you think of that, can I just say, pay my respect that he was at TSN for many years. His name was Michael Whalen. And he passed away during this last quarter. So if you were a TSN head, you might remember some hockey reporting from Michael Whalen. He's sadly no longer with us. By all accounts, was a good dude. And speaking of allegedly good dudes, Sid Seixeiro, who was fired along with Meredith Shaw. This is old news. We might have covered this a year ago, since this is our fourth episode of Rewinder. We've been around the whole calendar year now. So Sid Seixeiro and I remember Devo Brown came on Breakfast Television and just said, like off the top, was like, Sid Seixeiro and Meredith Shaw are no longer part of the Breakfast Television family. We wish them well. And then it was kind of an awkward thing. And eventually they brought back Dina Pugliese. She was like the new star. She's there now. Dina Pugliese. But this is all to say Sid Seixeiro has launched a YouTube show. So if you're looking for your Sid fix, you'll find it on YouTube.
Well, that's cool. I knew Meredith.
How did you know
Briefly.
Meredith Shaw?
Meredith
singer?
Shaw. Yeah, she's a songwriter and a singer, and she very talented woman, very nice. And I was at News Talk 1010 there at Yonge and St. Clair, and Boom was down the hall, so we would sometimes cross paths. And Troy McCallum, the PD there, would make these sort of parody videos and asked me to be in a couple of them. And I was in one almost. I couldn't make it the same day. I sang "Don't Give Up." You know, the
Peter Gabriel
and
Kate Bush.
Exactly. Boy, you're faster than me today. Just today, though.
Only because one of the Ziggy Lawrence shows on City TV would use that as like they would play that video, and I used to call it the hug song.
Okay, so then Troy makes a video of the song, but I can't make it that day. I didn't realize I would get to hug Meredith Shaw for like an hour while they shot it.
Lucky man.
Yeah, but I didn't.
She's a model too.
I know she's really lovely, but but I didn't make it. So it's a video of Troy hugging her for an hour and lip syncing to my voice.
Well, he probably told you the wrong address, so he would have to fill in.
Maybe
smart
maybe
guy.
it was deliberate, but anyway. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan. Well, she's been over here for a Toronto Mic'd episode. She was delightful. And yeah, so Sid 60 has a podcast. I'm not sure what Meredith is up to. But one last TV note, okay, before we move on. We know, Blair Packham, that you're a huge baseball fan.
Oh, my God.
So let's listen to this. You ready?
Here comes the 3-2. He got him! For the first time in 32 years, the Toronto Blue Jays are going to the World Series. What a performance by Jeff Hoffman in the ninth.
What a season for the Blue Jays. Hoffman was outstanding after 2 innings last night. He came in and slammed the door. He struck out the side. This is a season to remember.
What a season for the Blue Jays. That's Buck Martinez.
Buck Martinez. That's
you got to work on that Buck.
I know. Yeah,
got to be more gravelly.
Maybe I'll
more mumbly.
Maybe I'll do my David Marsden in the meantime. No, I like baseball. I just don't know anything about it.
Well, Buck Martinez.
I go to the games once a year.
You may remember that Buck Martinez has been around Blue Jays forever because he was a Toronto Blue Jays. He was a Toronto Blue Jays. Why did I add an S at the end of that? He was a Toronto Blue Jay, and then he started doing like color analyst work for the team in 1987 after he retired as a Major League Baseball as a catcher. So he was also he was broadcasting as far back as 1982 when he covered the ALCS and he covered the World Series and the All-Star Game. He did all this for the Telemedia Radio Network.
Oh yeah,
you may remember the Telemedia Radio Network. Well, he eventually ended up at TSN, where of course he was with Dan Shulman at the first time. And then he got some ESPN work for a number of years. He even got to manage the Blue Jays for a season. And then he went back to ESPN and then eventually back to the Blue Jays broadcast booth on Rogers Sportsnet, where he would be alongside Dan Shulman. And then Dan left and he became the play-by-play guy. And you might remember, get out of here, ball. Get out. I hated it, but that's what he did. And now he's back where he sounds best, I think, with Dan Shulman doing play-by-play. An analysis by Buck Martinez, but this is a long-winded way of saying, after calling more than 4,000 Toronto Blue Jays games, Buck Martinez has announced he is done. He has retired.
That is truly the end of an era.
Big time. He is, since I remember, because I am a little younger than you, I have no memory of Blue Jay baseball before Buck Martinez was a member of the team.
Right. Well, there wouldn't be that much anyway, but yeah.
A few years there, yeah. I think he comes here in maybe 81 or something like that. But yeah, that's a big time change for the broadcast booth, and I think Jays fans will miss Buck Martinez, and we wish him well. And I hope that the powers that be have already got in the works a big day where Buck visits the Dome and they put him on the level of excellence, and I can hear the crowd going just ape shit nuts. Buck is there. He gets his flowers. He's on the level of excellence. I hope that happens in 2026.
That sounds great.
Do you have any friends at Rogers we can call?
Not anymore.
I want to Forget the Joe Carter statue they're going to put outside the dome, which is a good idea. I want to see the statue of Buck Martinez throwing to third with his broken leg. This is a famous play in Blue Jays history. Let's make that statue.
That's, the broken leg part especially.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
Of course you would. Let's talk a little music, Blair.
Okay, finally.
You know a thing or two about music, right?
Thank goodness. As long as it's not past the 90s.
Well, you might be in luck here as I look at it. It's mainly pre-90s, but a little past the 90s.
Really?
But this music segment is brought to you by recyclemyelectronics.ca. Blair, if you have that room in East York full of old cables, old devices, old electronics, I'm worried. I go to bed at night worried. Wow. You're going to just throw that in the garbage.
Well, now that I know that you're worried, I won't, because it was ready to go. Next garbage
It's
collection.
in a garbage bag by the door.
Yeah.
I wake up in a cold sweat and I'm like, no, Blair, those cables, don't throw them in the garbage, because Blair, those chemicals end up in our landfill.
I like it, Mike, when people use my name a lot, Mike.
Oh, you know where I got that from? Tom Wilson.
Oh, Blair. He would do that to me too.
Okay,
yeah,
that's his thing.
Yeah.
He'll come in.
Listen,
well, let me tell you, Toronto Mike. It's like he's like Hulk Hogan doing a
that's right.
WWF promo.
I always feel like I'm being sold something, but not from Tom Wilson, but in general, when somebody
Blair,
uses my name a lot.
You're going to go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in that postal code, and find out where you drop it off to be properly recycled. Let's properly recycle those cables, those devices.
I'm
those
going to do
electronics.
that. I can think of a particular item right now that it's a charger for a Ryobi drill tool set, and it died. And I need to, and I kept thinking, should I just throw this away? And then I thought, no, recyclemyelectronics.ca.
That Ryobi cable died, just like the partnership Toronto Mike had with Ryobi died.
You had a partnership with Ryobi? Wow. Oh, I remember that.
And I used to have on.
I want a battery.
There's a case of beer here.
Yeah.
But I used to have a, what was it, a drill or something, like a Ryobi drill was here.
Wow. Well, I want them back. I want them back because I need another battery.
Yeah, who doesn't? Okay, get in line. Get in line. So I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you did your homework, but last episode of Rewinder, we were talking about your friend, Rick Emmett.
Yes.
And I think you texted him in real time that there was rumors that there was big news coming from Triumph.
Yeah. And he would not budge.
He wouldn't give up the goods.
No.
But it has been announced subsequently, and I'm wondering if you are even aware of your friend Rick Emmett's news regarding Triumph in 2026.
I absolutely am. And
okay.
Yeah.
Talk to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm aware of it. I'll get the details all wrong, but I can just go to my.
That's why people come to Rewinder.
Yeah.
Get the details all wrong.
Exactly. I can go to my David Marsden impression. No, I mean they're touring and the band will be augmented and there will be extra players on stage, but it's not a cover band doing Triumph. Rick can still play his ass off, so there's no question he can still sing his ass off. Now I don't know, he may drop a key of a song here or there because those songs are high, but he's in great voice. So. I don't know specifics in terms of where and when and so forth.
Well, I know it starts on April 22nd, 2026. This tour is called the Rock and Roll Machine Reloaded Tour.
Right.
50th anniversary.
And 50 years, just like Marilyn Dennis. Oh,
well, she's 40.
I know. I felt
nice
sad.
Try. You're thinking of Crowder.
Yeah. Crowder and the elevator. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it's great. And I've talked to Triumph fans recently, like people I didn't even know were Triumph fans. They're like, oh my God, I grew up with that. And they wanted to go to the shows and thought I might have an in. And I thought I might too.
But it's shocking to me you don't have an in.
I don't. Well, Rick texted me back. I actually texted him said, I know allow me to be among the billions of people asking you this. And he said, his response was something like, buddy, we could sell out 2 more shows in Toronto and Hamilton with all the people who are asking for freebies, and I thought, I don't want to be that guy. Actually, I think I started my text by saying,
it's tough to know when you're close enough to get that, especially if it's a seated event. Like it's one thing if it's like I don't know, Danforth Music Hall and you get put on a list or something. I feel like that might be different.
I think I think we are close enough. I think that I got to him at the wrong time, first of all, and also I think he doesn't think of me as a Triumph fan because I've known him post Triumph. I didn't when I first knew him. I didn't really know who Triumph were. He was a guy from a band.
Right. Right.
We
Do you
met-
know? Go ahead.
We met through the Songwriters Association of Canada. We were co-vice presidents of that organization, Canada's only national voice for the creators of words and music. And so I got to know him as a colleague, and you know, a lovely guy. And then he brought me in to do a workshop at Humber College, and brought me into sub for him teaching there. And you know, we've worked together a lot over the years, and I love the guy, but I don't at all take any disrespect from him not jumping to offer me a free ticket.
I believe April Wine is opening.
Really? That's interesting.
You know, obviously sans the late great Miles Goodwin.
Right. That'll be a different version of April Wine for sure.
But that fits, I think. And then you're going to hear Magic Power and Fight the Good Fight. I feel like it's
Hold On.
for Hold On, right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be a big deal to an age cohort that is slightly older than mine.
Yes, in fact, probably slightly older than mine, just slightly.
But it's all happening. So this is kind of exciting. So if you want to see Triumph, it's going to be a 50th anniversary tour. That is, you know, now I mentioned earlier when we talked about Victoria Lord, she sent over Gil Moore. So 2/3 of Triumph are FOTMs.
That's amazing. That's great. Well, you know, Negril is where Mike Levine had a home for many years.
Oh, well, Mike's the holdout. Let's get him on Toronto Mike.
Well, go down to Negril.
I mentioned earlier that David Quinton Steinberg, I saw his name when I was reviewing the credits for a new documentary called Nash the Slash Rises Again.
Right.
I have a very special episode tomorrow. So tomorrow on Toronto Mike, here are the people involved. I'll just name check these people really quickly here as I load up my Google Calendar and tell you that tomorrow I have, it's loading very slowly here. Okay. I'm going to actually not go into my calendar for this information. I am going to get
coming at you live,
coming at you live.
folks.
So, do more of that Marsden impression, will you? Well, I got to go.
Blair, I had your recording on.
The director of this documentary is a gentleman named Tim Kowalski.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be here in the basement. A writer and the guy who helped put this together is FOTM Colin Brunton.
Sure, I know Colin.
And Colin will be in this
guy.
basement.
Great
So
guy.
He'll be here too. Yeah, he's very interesting. I'm looking at the last pogo here.
I was going to say Last Pogo is where I first heard his name.
Liz Worth was just over here. You got to listen to Liz Worth.
Yeah, I read her book, but I don't
Treat
know
Me
her.
Like Dirt.
Oh no, she was a guest on the radio show that I did with Bob and Bob
Okay.
Reed. Yeah,
Well,
years ago when that came out. Treat Me Like Dirt.
You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of talk about the last pogo, and the last pogo jumps again is how her now husband Kiri Paputz, whose dad was in the Violetones. He was Chris Haight.
Oh wow!
In the Violetones. Okay, so let me wrap this up real quick here.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I should have got you water. I'm a terrible.
No,
I should have got you water.
I'll just
I can
drink
hear
the
that
beer.
cough here.
I'll drink the
drink
beer.
a beer.
Yeah.
So Colin Brunton's a writer. A chap named. Let me tell you. Do you know this name? Kevin Byrne, but Kevin is with an A-N, so it's Kevan Byrne. Do you know what band he was a member of?
I don't. New Regime. No.
King Cobb Steely.
Oh, King Cobb. Right. Sure.
He's a writer on this thing, and he will be here.
Yeah.
And then via Zoom joining us will be the chap who put together the original music, who I believe is on the live stream right now because I see that green ball next to his name, Rob Pruce.
Rob Pruce, the lovely Rob Pruce. Enjoyed so much seeing Rob in New York.
No, he opened for you.
Yeah, no, but I enjoyed
At Great Lakes Brewery.
Right, but I enjoyed seeing him so much in New York City.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Back in October.
So he's back on the show tomorrow remotely. And also remotely, Friendly Rich, who helped organize the tribute album. I just wondered if you had ever met Nash the Slash.
Yeah, I have a Nash this last story.
Tell me.
I was with Doug McClement from Comfort Sound. I was working with Comfort Sound, and my job was to be on stage as assistant engineer and, set up microphones and run cables and all that stuff. But once the show started, my job was to be on stage and make sure if a mic fell over or something that I could report to Doug what was going on. And Nash the Slash was a much music big ticket special, and it was at the Oshawa Civic Center. And Nash was opening for Kim Mitchell, and this is Kim's first run after Max Webster, I think. It was early.
Well, Go for Soda was his first big single as a solo artist.
This would have been, this was before that, because this was maybe 1980.
Was there solo
81.
Kim before that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I would say for sure.
Because when we get to the Ridley Funeral Home segment, we will be talking more Max Webster.
Well, yes, okay, but I think so. I think, didn't Max fold by 1980?
Around 81 or so.
Yeah,
I
okay,
feel.
so this was post Max, and Kim was solo for sure.
Okay.
And but Nash was opening, and Nash was doing the one-man band thing. He had a rack of equipment that, to play back, and echoes and so forth, echoplexes and so forth. Anyway, his he's wearing a helmet because it's I'm an American band, something like that. That was whatever that album was called. He's wearing a motorcycle helmet on stage while he's sawing away at the violin, and to tracks. And somebody throws a golf ball at him from the audience, and it's like a bright orange golf ball, neon, and it hits him on the head. I'm only laughing because...
good thing he has the bandages.
Exactly. So then he gets hit another time. Then another one lands nearby, and he calls it, and he's swearing at the audience, "Fuck this," and so forth.
But he is. I'm thinking of these artists, Kim Mitchell and Nash the Slash, and it is an interesting choice because Kim Mitchell has more of that Triumph crowd, if you will, like the Rush heads, the hosers.
Well, Nash seems pretty.
Where Nash is more, but he's more
downtown.
Sophisticated. It's a different style.
I would characterize it as more downtown. Frankly. More the Garys and less CPI.
Right.
Right. So anyway, but Matt, I remember the tour manager. I remember his full name. I'll say his full name. This doesn't paint him in a bad light. I don't think Matt Studi is his name. Don't know where and what Matt's doing these days, and we were never friends or anything like that. So hi, Matt, if you're listening. But he came out with the lights on, and Nash had left the stage, and he said to the audience, he said, "Whoever's doing that is a fucking idiot, and if you're standing beside somebody who's throwing those golf balls, I want you to pound them." Which I thought was bad advice, given that this is a general admission crowd standing in the front. And anyway, so that was it. Nash went on and he finished the set, and I don't think any more golf balls happened. But
more Nash the Slash tomorrow on Toronto Mike in that doc. I can't wait to see it. Nash the Slash rises again.
Yeah, that's great.
So Blair, shout out to Ridley Funeral Home. We're going to remember some people we lost this past quarter, but I'm going to play a song, and I'm going to disappear for a bit, but I will be back. You ready?
Ready.
What are your thoughts as you listen to this Max Webster beauty?
Classic. It's so beautiful. It builds so beautifully to that chorus. Songs are about holding the listener's attention, but also tension and release. So the tension is building through the verse. It starts out very, very modestly, and then it builds harmonically, like with the chords, just the way it builds in that, what I would call the pre-chorus, before it gets to the release of Let Go the Line. Like, honestly, it's some of the most beautiful songwriting that I've ever heard. And of course I know the song, Terry Watkinson.
You got it. Terry Watkinson left us this past quarter. He passed away recently. And this is a Terry jam he's singing. Like, I think if you're of a certain vintage, like a younger person, and you know a bit about Max Webster, and maybe you've heard a couple of songs on, I don't know, Q107 or whatever, you think it's the Kim Mitchell Band.
Yeah. This part. And then we're coming to the release.
Let go the line.
It's just like all that build, though, is so beautiful. And yeah, it's funny. Well, you know, if you were a Steely Dan fan, similarly, you know, the first album has a couple of different singers. But this is Terry.
Beautiful. Maybe the most beautiful Max Webster song, but a Terry Wilkinson jam. He's a keyboardist with Max Webster. I will be asking Rob Bruce about him when we do the next toast.
Right.
With Bob Willett, because whenever keyboardists pass, I must talk to the Bruce man. But great loss. And it's funny that you're here and we're talking about Max Webster, because there was a young man I met in your living room. His name is Bob Wegner.
Ah, yes, Bob.
Bob wrote a great book on Max Webster.
He really did. What a character Bob is, and a comprehensive book that is. Had him on the radio show on News Talk 1010 to talk about that. And yeah, he's a real character.
So,
and in a great way, I mean.
If people want to learn more about Max Webster, you know, I'll connect you with Bob Wegner. You can buy a copy of his book and learn more about Max Webster. Because of the passing of Terry, I have been revisiting some Max Webster stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is an underappreciated, underrated Canadian band, Max Webster.
Fully and completely, I would say.
Tragically hip.
Well, okay. They very underrated. I will concur.
I feel they may have got lost, and we were talking about Triumph earlier, but they may have got lost in the Rush. Because Rush was so massive. Yeah. I feel like Max Webster got lost in that noise.
Well, and people might say, well, what's the connection? The connection is their record label and their management. So, you know, and if, I mean, and I don't know, David Steinberg would actually know, but if...
tight-lipped guy, though.
Yeah, he's very discreet.
Won't even put Getty on Toronto Mike.
No, he won't. But if you're a small-ish label, and you've got a couple of acts, maybe you've got 3-4 acts, whatever, and one of them starts to explode, you're going to focus on that act. And that act in this case was Rush. So the other acts, and I'm not even sure they had anybody other than Max on the label, but the other acts are going to suffer necessarily, because you've got to pay attention to the one that's, you know, making you money, and you know, for the survival of the label and the furtherance of the band's career.
So maybe a resurgence and maybe more sales for Bob Wegner, who's been documenting this great band's
right. Well, I hope so,
history.
Because they're definitely, they have been underrated, unfortunately. The people who love them, you know, deeply and dearly, and I get that.
Well, if you're of a certain vintage, they probably played your high school.
Exactly. Yeah.
But, you know, and by the way, since we said Rush, I'm going to say these words, and then we're going to move on to another death this past quarter. Okay. But these are the words I'm going to say to you. Ready, Blair? Mm-hmm. Rush at the Junos.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sorry.
I'm just putting those words in your brain. The Junos are coming up in Hamilton.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that you're talking. I thought you were talking about something in the past, and
I'm predicting the future.
Thinking that you were going to ask me to talk about some, you know, and how they played with the Blue Jays or something. No. Rush at the Junos. Didn't know, and I think that's great.
So well, it's not announced.
It's a prediction.
I'm predicting that.
Yes, and who knows? And I can tell you this: David Steinberg won't be telling you, but I will also tell you. I will tell you this. Here's an annoying thing about David Steinberg. So we're
add it to the list.
It's a very short list, but we're rehearsing for the Jitters gig in November. This is back in probably the beginning
at
of
Hughes
November.
Room.
Yeah, and we finish rehearsing a song, and I say, well, okay, that one started out at the right tempo, but it slowed way down. So can we pay attention to that? And David says, "Are you talking to me?" And I said, because he's the drummer, I said, yeah. And then Michael Zweig, who was playing guitar with the Jitters, he leans over to David and he goes, "How's Getty doing?" And David starts laughing because David was playing drums and looking down at his phone on the floor because he was getting texts from Getty the whole time. And he's paying attention to that while he's drumming, and he's slowing down. So David then said, I had to look at those texts. They're rehearsing right now, talking about Rush. And I said, David, We're rehearsing right now.
You're literally playing drums in the jitters, rehearsing at this moment.
That's right. So, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. So he won't confirm or deny the allegations, but I am putting into the universe right now one more time. I've done it a few times. I'm doing it again. The Junos in Hamilton. This is not on the bill, not announced. It is a top secret. I expect to see Rush. So I expect to see Alex and Getty and Annika.
Annika? Yeah.
I expect to see this trio at the Junos. Okay.
Yeah. I look forward to seeing if you're correct.
So I like to focus on Canadians we've lost during the last quarter, but I am going to acknowledge some non-Canadians because they're such big names, and maybe a word or two, not too much time, because I am going to try to nail this 2-hour deadline here. But we did lose Rob Reiner this past quarter.
Horrifically.
Yes, horrifically. And when I think about, this is Spinal Tap, or Stand By Me, or the Princess Bride, or When Harry Met Sally, or A Few Good Men, or Misery. Like, these are iconic films that man made, and I didn't want to have his passing pass without us spending a moment to just acknowledge what a tremendous director he was.
Yeah, I agree. Completely. Big fan of all of those movies, in fact.
Well, I made a little list here to tell you that you could make an argument. Now, again, it's all very subjective, but you could make an argument that the greatest mockumentary film ever made was This Is Spinal Tap.
Yep, you could make that argument for sure. For sure.
You could make the argument, Blair Packham, that the best coming-of-age film ever was Stand By Me. You could make that argument.
Yes.
You're agreeing with me. I like that. You could make the argument that the most beloved fantasy comedy of all time was The Princess Bride.
No question.
You could make the argument that the definitive rom-com was When Harry Met Sally.
You know, the proof of this is as you're saying each sentence and you're not saying the title, you're pausing for a moment. In each case, I know exactly which movie you're talking about.
Well, you could make an argument, Blair Packham, that the most iconic American courtroom drama of all time was A Few Good Men.
Yeah. You can't handle the truth.
You need me on that wall, Blair Packham. You want me on that wall. One of the, and also one of the greatest, most prolific, and one of the best-selling writers of all time is a chap named Stephen King. And there have been many, many adaptations. And sure, Shawshank Redemption is one. There are some great films adapted from Stephen King books. But you could make the argument that one of the best, and again, I'm throwing out Shawshank Redemption because that might be the best, but one of the best Stephen King adaptations ever was Misery.
Yeah, you could make that argument and you would be,
So that's Rob Reiner. And
that's
we
just
didn't even
one
tell
director.
you.
I know.
He was in the greatest sitcom. You could argue the greatest sitcom of all time was All in the Family.
All in the Family. Mike Stubich. Yeah.
Meathead.
Yeah, I think he was underrated, in fact, Rob Reiner. We think of, a director who has a similar sort of track record would be Spielberg. And I would think most people would put Spielberg above Rob Reiner. I'm not so sure about that.
Well, you got Jaws, right?
You got Jaws, you got Schindler's List.
Yeah, and you got Saving Private Ryan.
Sure, there's a whole bunch of them, but throw that up against...
E.T.?
Okay, but throw it up against...
I don't know. Rob Reiner's great. I think Spielberg might be great.
Okay, sure. But, throw him in a mud wrestling situation.
Also, was Steven Spielberg ever in one of the greatest sitcoms of all time?
Well, that's what I'm saying. And also, Spinal Tap with Christopher Guest, it spawned a whole genre of mockumentary.
And we're going to talk about those mockumentaries when we close with another significant loss from this past quarter.
Right.
So I'm putting a pin in that.
Yes.
I'm going to name check a couple of people real quick. The Grateful Dead founder, Bob Weir.
That's right. Yeah, that's sad. You warned me before we went on to not say anything bad about anybody, as you do.
I would never say that. That doesn't sound like me at all.
And I think you said if you don't have anything nice to say.
No, I said don't say anything nice about people. I want to hear just the dirt.
Oh, I have no dirt about Bob Weir. I was not a particular fan of the Grateful Dead. However, there's no question the admiration I have for them and had for them, and as with the loss of Jerry Garcia, that's a really big loss, and the fans who love that band, they really feel it, I'm sure.
And shout out to Canada Kev, who is on the live stream right now and is a massive Deadhead.
Right. Is Canada Kev an orthodontist or a lawyer by any chance?
I think he works for the CBC.
Okay, that tracks. No, that's me being snarky about Grateful Dead fans.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Canada Kev. I apologize.
He just wrote Bob Weir's passing hurt.
Yes, I imagine it did, and I'm sorry about that.
And just catching up since I'm on the live stream, that Rob Pruce is on the live stream, and he says that Spoons were signed to Rush's management label Anthem when he left.
When Rob left.
When Rob left the band.
Oh, okay.
He said it wasn't a good combination.
Well, I think that they just going back to that, I think that it's got to stretch your resources when you're a small company, relatively speaking. I mean, they did very, very well, but they were small in terms of manpower and so forth. When the Jitters played at Hughes Room before it moved to the East End, it was so great to be playing the songs and then make a joke to the audience, because I apparently can't help that, and hear the laugh, the totally distinctive laugh of Peggy Ciccone, who worked with Anthem for so many years, and just her laugh was so great. And she passed away about a year after that. And but it was great. And then that was the night that I met Geddy for the only time, when he said that I was a funny fucker. That's
you are a funny fucker.
Thank you. That's high praise though from Geddy Lee. So
it's also high praise from yours truly, who thought that when he was in Pete Fowler's backyard.
There you go. And I was telling those stories.
And I thought to myself, this guy would be a good quarterly co-host if I ever started a media roundup subseries.
I believe it was wasn't it radio lady Sharon Taylor who approached you?
I called her your driver, and I believe that did stick, although I tried to avoid it today.
It only stuck with you.
You brought it back.
but I thought
I like to lean in on these things. Like I'll take that. Like I think, Sharon Taylor, that's your driver, but I don't. My tongue's in my cheek.
I thought she approached you that evening though to say, Blair would be good on your podcast.
You know what?
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
She has acted in certain ways as my coach, and I'm not kidding. She's been very
you just spent how long were you in Jamaica with her?
Oh God, 182 days. No, it was 7 days. But it was great. It was really.
But is that your
great.
first trip where you went with just Sharon Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, I visited her in Winnipeg last summer, and I was there for 7 days.
Because that's a very close level of friendship that you can do what you did with Sharon Taylor.
Yeah, and we got along just fine. I mean, it was.
She didn't get
fun.
sick of you?
Oh, I can't speak for that. I didn't get sick of her. I don't know if she got sick of me, but no, it was great.
Quick hits on these two gentlemen. Are both Americans here. We're going to burn through this, but Robert Duvall, hell of an actor, and many a big film.
Yeah. There's a big one that I'm waiting for. It's not Robert Duvall, and I feel sad about that because I loved him, from The Godfather on. That was probably the first movie I saw that he was in. But no, there is I was about to muse on the fact that I'm at that age where everybody's dying.
Well, hold on, because there's sequencing. You know how you have your.
No, I'm the one I'm thinking of. He's fully alive. I'm just worried about that and when it happens.
You won't say the name.
You're
not going to be.
I don't want to curse him.
There's no such thing as a curse. This doesn't exist.
Well, I'm frankly the whole reason I'm in music. I just don't want to take too much attention away from. Well, that's one, but I don't want to take too much attention away from Robert Duvall. I don't want to.
Paul McCartney.
Exactly, Paul McCartney.
That'll be huge for the world.
That's going to kill me almost literally.
But he's doing well right now.
Yes, I know, and we should celebrate that.
We might get another decade.
Yeah, or two.
Hope. Yeah,
who knows?
Let's hope. Yeah. So Robert Duvall, what a big time.
Yes, the Great Santini. Oh my God, what a great movie.
Well, Apocalypse Now.
Of course.
So many big
Napalm
films,
in the Morning.
Right. Love the smell of napalm in the morning. Okay.
That's right.
Neil Sedaka passed away.
Yeah, that's sad too. I always thought he was a sort of like when I didn't know, when I was a youngster, he had a revival in his career due to Elton John's help. And so I wasn't familiar with him from before, Calendar Girl and the original Breaking Up Is Hard to Do,
right,
and so forth. So he just seemed like the uncoolest guy in rock music,
right,
and yet he could sing and play and write, and so I was sort of won over. But like honestly, the smiling Neil Sedaka to me was like. It was so weird because I was into Alice Cooper and shit like that, stuff that I thought was dangerous.
Because you were trying to get Bob Ezrin to produce your demos.
And I did. And I'd like to imitate Dave Marsden. Anyway,
I want Bob Ezrin on Toronto Mike.
That'd be a good one. I'm surprised he hasn't.
I did try to reach out. Well, I thought I had an email address, and I think I had some help from Mark Weisblot trying to make this happen, but I never heard back.
Keep trying. I had a conversation with somebody just yesterday about Bob and about him doing something. I have to remember who it was. Whoever it was described Bob as somewhat of a mentor to him.
Okay, well.
So, you know what? I'll look into that.
It was probably, I was going to say, which member of Pink Floyd was it who said that to you? Okay, so.
It was Roger Waters.
Teenage
who
Head.
we don't talk to anymore.
Right, because he's a Nazi. Okay, so I'm holding in my hands drumsticks gifted to me by the great FOTM Gene Champagne.
Nice.
If you go see Teenage Head today, you're going to see on drums Gene Champagne.
Yes.
By the way, on the live stream, I'm told by your friend that you're hard on drummers. I guess this was in relation to
this is something
what you said about David Quinton.
No, I think I said that to her once, and she has never let me forget it. But it's true. I am hard on drummers.
So Gene Champagne drumming away with Dave Rave and Teenage Head currently, but for 20 years before Gene Champagne replaced him, Jack Pedler drummed for Teenage Head, and we lost Jack this past quarter.
Yeah. Jack Pedler. The reason I know him, aside from the Teenage Head thing, but I knew of him before. Hamilton guy, really great drummer. When the Jitters were looking for a drummer, we ended up with David Steinberg. But we put out the call for new drummers, and Jack Pedler sent a promo pack with a headshot and everything, and a cassette of him playing, and he was great. And then David Steinberg came along. So I always remember Jack's name, and
he would drum for Daniel Lanois, for example.
Yep.
Prior to Teenage Head. So 20 years, we lost Jack. Here's somebody I wonder if you cross paths with, and then we're going to close with a big one. But DB Hawks, do you know this name?
Not at all.
So DB joined CIUT in 1986, hosting an open format Saturday overnight show. And by 1990, he would basically focus on Caribbean and Black-focused programming. He had a show called The Master Plan Show. He basically focused on Jamaican music on CIUT. And this is a name, it might not be a household name, but he did that for a very long time, and he passed away this past quarter.
I'm sorry to hear that.
DB Hawks. So we got to remember the names like DB Hawks alongside some big names. Let's listen to this and talk about one more person we lost.
When the veil of dreams has lifted and the fairy tales have all been told, there's a kiss at the end of the rainbow, more precious than a pot of gold. In tales of ancient glory, every knight and maiden fair shall be joined when the quest is over, and a kiss is the oath that they swear. And when the veil of dreams has lifted and the fairy tales have all been told, there's a kiss at the end of the rainbow, more precious than a pot of gold.
My sweet, my dear, my darling, you're so far away from me. Though an ocean of tears divides us, let the bridge of our love span the sea.
more precious than a pot of gold.
Blair Packham, I can't believe I'm saying these words, but Catherine O'Hara is no longer with us.
Unbelievable. Really. What a bright light. I mean, that song in and of itself, I believe Eugene Levy wrote that song. And, excuse me, and that's both of them singing.
Mickey and Mitch.
Yeah, from A Mighty Wind.
Yes.
I found A Mighty Wind to be not that funny, partly because it was so beautiful.
Yeah,
it was
poignant,
so sweet
yeah.
and poignant. Yeah. But yeah, I met her maybe once or twice in very non-memorable, memorable for me, but non-memorable circumstances for her, I'm sure. But she was lovely, even to me, and yeah, what a beautiful presence, and much loved by everyone who knew her, and I really feel that one, and I feel. For the SC, it's closer to home, than
Well, born and raised
Yeah.
here in the 416.
Yeah.
She's a Toronto girl.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed interviews with her. I heard one recently where she's just so natural and real. And I've seen fan videos, iPhone videos of people encountering her, and she's just, and if she's like, okay, I got to run, and it's just very matter of fact and so forth, and just. So lovely, and yeah, it's very sad, and early, too soon,
way too soon. Only 71.
Yeah,
and she was at TIFF in 2025 and looked fine. So this was a shocker.
Yeah,
like to see that news come across the wire there. You're like, wait a minute, you have to read it twice. Like,
yeah.
Catherine O'Hara just passed away.
Yeah.
She was ours, Toronto's Second City is where she gets her start in comedy. And of course she was on SCTV.
Yeah.
She ended up earning 4 Emmy nominations, and she did win one for outstanding writing in a variety or music program for that. But she had a 5-decade career. I'll name check some things. We did allude to the Christopher Guest movies, which kind of, Rob Reiner directs This Is Spinal Tap. And of course, Christopher Guest is a member of Spinal Tap. And Christopher Guest goes on to make 4 films that are in this improv mockumentary vein. Improv vein. I had Linda Cash on last week. She's in a couple of these.
I haven't listened to that episode
Very
yet,
good.
but Linda, I would say, is a friend of mine. We don't hang out, but we went to the same high school. And
Wow.
I knew her siblings and played on shows that Linda has booked and so forth. I like Linda very much. She's
it's a great
lovely
episode.
person.
We
Yeah.
did spend some time talking about Catherine O'Hara because, of
I
course,
bet.
Linda Cash.
Linda Cash, some iconic moments in Best in Show. Oh my God! There's a scene that is just fantastic between and where there's a look exchanged between her and Eugene Levy.
Yes.
And it's just anyway.
Catherine's beside Eugene in that scene
That's
that you're
right.
describing. And she was also in Waiting for Guffman with Catherine O'Hara,
Yep.
too, and
Yep.
the similar crew.
Yeah. Linda's amazing.
So
Yeah.
there is more Catherine O'Hara chatter in the Linda Cash episode. But I want you to listen to it because we opened the show by listening to Linda Cash's mom sing.
Maureen Forrester.
Maureen Forrester.
Yes.
And it is quite something, and there's a camera on her, so I got to kind of review it later. But it is quite something to watch Linda Cash listening to her mom,
Yes.
who had early onset dementia in her early 50s.
Yeah.
So that's quite something. That's aside. But Catherine O'Hara, the 4 were, of course, Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, A Mighty Wind, which we just heard there, and For Your Consideration, which Catherine O'Hara was great in that too. I love all 4 of those movies. I think Best in Show might be my favorite. But she showed up in everything. You'd see her in 6 Feet Under. Of course, she had this resurgence with Schitt's Creek, which she got well celebrated. She won the Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series. She won a Golden Globe for that. This is all, to me, you talked about how it feels like Roz and Mocha just started, right? It feels like Schitt's Creek is just yesterday.
It's a new show.
It's a new show.
It feels like a new show.
100% here.
I know, yeah.
So, I mean, I could go on. Beetlejuice, right? Home
Oh my
Alone.
God.
You ever seen this
Yeah.
movie, Home Alone?
I've heard of it.
You've heard of this? Do you have a relationship with any of the other O'Haras?
Well, Mary Margaret and I go way back very shallowly in the sense that we would say hello to each other, and I was always surprised she remembered my name, frankly. But no, we're not friends.
What about like a Michael O'Hara?
I've never met Michael or Marcus, in fact. But Mary Margaret, yeah, I remember running into her in the weirdest places, including the photocopy shop that used to be at Bay and Yorkville. I would run into her there because I was a regular visitor.
Right.
And regular enough that I knew the guy behind the counter's name, and she did too. And then but we would see each other on the club scene. Let's put it that way. And Mary Margaret recorded her landmark album, Miss America, at Comfort Sound.
Wow.
With Stephen Traub, one of our house engineers, one of Doug McClelland's house engineers.
Sure.
Don't mean to make it sound like I employed him or anything. But Stephen, a friend of mine as well, was the engineer on that. And it's a landmark record. I've always been disappointed that she didn't make more recordings and release more recordings, but anyway.
But it is interesting to note. So Mary Margaret O'Hara, great singer, of course, but Catherine O'Hara was a heck of a singer.
She really was, and you can hear it in that song that you played. A delicate voice, but when she sings the bridge part on solo without doing harmony, you can hear the strength in her voice. It's beautiful.
Massive loss for everybody,
Yeah.
but man, that one hits close to home.
It does.
Toronto's own Catherine O'Hara no longer with us. Blair, we did go over 2 hours, but not by a lot. Like, I think this was all killer, no filler, and we covered a lot of ground. So thank you for doing this, man.
Well, thank you for having me, as always.
I will close by telling you, because normally I had a section called Canadianity. I'm going to just drop one item on you, but I will remind everyone, including you, Blair, that you can get a ticket to see me at the Elma Combo on May 21st. That sounds like it's a satire or parody or something. It's really happening. Like, go to torontomike.com, click Elmo gig at the top. There's a link, and you can buy a ticket or two. I would love to see you there. You know, if it's an empty room, because Rob Pruce is on stage with me too, playing keyboards.
I'm a little hurt that you haven't asked me to play guitar with you, but okay.
Well, Blair's in charge. Blair, you're Blair. Rob's in charge of the music.
Oh, that explains everything.
He's got to organize all that if he wants more people on stage with him.
Rob, I'm available. Rob, you have my number. Listen, when I think of the Elmo Combo, I think of Rolling Stones and you.
Yeah, well, that's actually a part of my act where I do that exact thing, and then
you're going to dress up like Mick.
Well, Rob breaks into the Devo version.
Oh, Satisfaction.
Yeah, Satisfaction.
Right.
So this is all happening. Don't want to miss that. I was going to close by just sharing the fact that Coca-Cola owns Minute Maid, and the Minute Maid frozen juices are being discontinued. Okay, so if you ever, these canned, frozen cans that we grew up with, Blair, are going the way of the dodo bird. Like, after 80 years, they're leaving the Canadian market. That is it for the frozen juice from concentrate era.
I'm sad about that, but not as sad as I've been about some of the other items we've discussed in this.
But enough
program.
about cherry blossoms.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll eat this one day.
Yeah, one day. Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,859th show. Can you ask David Quinton Steinberg to definitively get me the truth? Who says subdivisions on that song by Rush?
I will ask.
Who's sampled in that saying subdivisions?
I will ask.
Will you?
Yeah.
Will you get back to me?
Yep.
We'll see how tight-lipped David is on that one. Okay. Go to torontomike.com for all your Toronto Mike needs. Much love to all who made this possible. That is Great Lakes Brewery. Blair's got his beer.
I'm texting David right now.
Yeah, thank you. How quickly does he reply to you? We'll find out. Palma Pasta. You got a lasagna, buddy.
Yay!
Nick Ianni's. I want to tell people there's a new podcast from Nick Ianni's called Mike and Nick. Check it out. I'm the Mike in that one. RecycleMyElectronics.ca, and of course, Ridley Funeral Home. See you all tomorrow. It's all Nash the Slash. I was going to say a cast of dozens, but it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 plus me. That's 6 of us talking about Nash the Slash and, of course, the new documentary, Nash the Slash Rises Again. Don't you dare miss it. We'll be back with another Rewinder in 3 months. If I renew Blair's contract.
If.
We're negotiating.
I'm working on some new impressions, I swear.
Work on that and make sure you continue to wear the purple pants. I love these purple pants.
They're my Rewinder pants.
With the Packham, who is also known as Blair. Perfect. All right, see y'all tomorrow.
Goodbye.